there's like that meme about Jordan Peterson. It's like, clean your room. Like, oh, there's something wrong with your life. You got cancer. Clean your room. Like, if I were to look at your 5 closest friends, I could tell you exactly who you are.
When you're with people who don't want to see the best for you, they tend to try to bring you down. This misery loves company.
A lot of people really want to be friends with their kids. I don't want my kid to hate me. I don't want them to not like me. I want to be their friends. I want to know everything that's going on. Oh, that's just how I am. I'm just keeping it real.
Child asks you, is Santa real? Right? You're crying.
I can see you don't like this, but I don't care.
I mean,
it's like, what are we going to do now? What do we have to do? Do we have to fix this? How can we do this? How can we make him comfortable? How are we going to take care of him now? What are we supposed to do? How are we going to organize our lives already? I was already thinking of that.
Welcome to the Beanie After Dark edition. This is the beginning of our never-ending podcast, and today I have a really special guest, Mr. Ben Sattin. He's had a really, really awesome story. And we kind of going through like the whole family lineage. It's awesome to kind of sit after dark and just be able to kind of have a little cool conversation going. And it has some interesting topics that we're going to jump into today. A lot of it just being more mindset and mental. And I have a surprise for him. He has no clue what to expect. So that's what makes things a little bit more interesting on the show. You know what I mean? So anyway, without further ado, I would like to welcome the guest and get started. What's up, Mr. Sattin? How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, Gio. Thank you. It's been great.
Yeah, man. Yo, so catch me up, man. How's the last few months been going?
It's been a grind, dude. Like a legit grind, dude. It's been crazy, and I'm like, oh man,
right.
My back's hurting a little, but we're going forward. So
are you like? Is it through lifting or
everything?
Oh shoot,
school, lifting, work. Like, oh my god,
you got the trifecta going right now. So
yeah. Sure. No, a lot of stuff going on. I'm really happy. Like, that's kind of like the big plan Julia and I made at the beginning of the year. We're just like, all right, let's go. Let's get it. Let's lean forward. Let's be intentional.
All right. I like it. That's super cool.
Yeah.
All right. So one of the biggest things I know you wanted to kind of jump into is some of the few things that we sent for kind of the topic for today. I mainly want to kind of stick on one, something I found was really interesting. You were talking about kind of the influence that Jordan Peterson had on you, and I was really interested in kind of this dichotomy because I feel like there's something very interesting with his perspective and who he is, and I'm kind of want if you can kind of give me the backstory here and kind of how Jordan Peterson kind of give you that little bit of influence there. And for those who don't know who Jordan Peterson is, he's kind of a behavioral psychologist. He's out in Canada. I think he came out to the U.S., but he kind of works under the guise of now like the Daily Wire and their team. But he focuses a lot on the average man, and especially kind of the teenage and growing into like the older years of how to be able to kind of get out of the rut, find direction in life, understanding what you want to do with your own perspective. It kind of makes it so much interesting. He really cares about the mental mindset within it. Now, he has definitely been more controversial in the most recent years, but we're more focusing on the kind of the psychology side of things, and his kind of the mindset of a man, even some of his traditional stuff, which I would love to kind of jump into to start, and then leading into kind of the thing later. But if you can bring up your backstory, that'd be great in relation to him.
Sure, absolutely. So I'm trying to remember when exactly he started gaining popularity. I think it was like not this past election, the one before the 2016 election is when he actually really started like popping off, I guess, when there was like that some protester came up to him with a camera talking about like the Nazi presence on his campus or something, and he's already been kind of like a big deal because he's really good at what he does, but it was from that point is when he kind of just started like became a rising star like overnight, it seems.
For real.
So yeah, like that's when I kind of noticed him, because I was just like, oh crap, like there's this guy out of nowhere just all of a sudden is just getting popularity. I wonder what he has to say. So I've been like watching a lot of what he says, reading some of his books for the time, and it's been really like interesting, like his perspective on a lot of things. It's something that a lot of people don't really hear that often, or like the way that he even just diagnoses and like breaks down like Disney movies even, or just different types of archetypes he sees in different forms of media. It's really interesting to hear what he has to say about, like, I mean, the big thing a lot of people say is like, when is his 12 rules for life. That's something that kind of comes up a lot. Or like there's like that meme about Jordan Peterson. It's like, clean your room. Like, oh, there's something wrong with your life. You got cancer. Clean your room. Like, it's really funny to hear. But like, I get it. Like, it's just so funny to hear, because it's like, it seems like it's just getting narrowed down to like just clean your room. But he's been like an enormous impact on me personally, just on how I go about my life. Just because there's a lot of interesting things he has to say, and I've been taking a lot from what he says. Like, I even have like a poster in my room that has a lot of his rules on my wall, and I like try to look at it and, you know, follow it every day as best as I can.
That's dope. I actually literally have it here right now.
Oh,
that's the reason kind of why I wanted to kind of jump into it. One of the things that I wanted to kind of go with you is rule by rule. Just for those who kind of don't know too much about the kind of the rules, it's very interesting, but there's a lot of in-depth of why he believes the way he does. But I was just curious on how it means to you, and I'll kind of give you my personality behind that as well. The first rule he has for the 12 rules for life is to stand up straight with your shoulders back. I think from the way I kind of interpret this is that, like, it's a rule, right? So these are things that you must kind of like abide by, right? And if you abide by them, they tend to, you know, put you in a more of a positive direction. But it doesn't seem very controversial. Stand up straight with your shoulders back. It seems like this sense of just, you know, whether being confident in who you are and where you're going, kind of like understand who you are and what's going on, be present of like the way you look in a way. I don't know if what you took from that.
Definitely that, of course, yeah. But and there's like a lot of different things you could go in about that. Like the simple thing being like, hey, you want to have that positive body language. Like if I sit up straight and have my shoulders back and everything, it's like you look more open to the world. You're very like welcoming. You look more confident. People want to trust you. Like if a guy's like hunched over and just kind of like
demon world,
muttering to himself, it's just like, what is he doing? Like it looks suspicious. Like I do a lot of face-to-face marketing now, and one of the big things we teach is the C factors: smile, eye contact, enthusiasm.
Huge.
Nobody wants to talk to anybody that's like hunched over, and they just don't care about it. Nobody wants to talk to that. If I go up to you and say, "Hey, how's it going, dude? You looking to do this thing real soon? I don't know, whatever it is. Like, you want to do some solar? You want to buy some vitamins?" Like, if I go up to you and I'm smiling and I'm talking to you in an enthusiastic manner, you're going to be like, "Oh, shoot. Like, what does this guy have? Like, he's being really nice to me. Like, I wonder what he's thinking about." And just a lot of that, like, you can extrapolate that all the way to just standing up for yourself, like having that body language to go like, "Hey, like, I'm not going to take this crap. Like, I'm going to just handle it." And he goes into it a little bit in the book where he talks about how that body language can be connected to how you feel about yourself and how you feel about things in general, like with lobsters that have existed longer before people have ever existed.
Huge.
And one of the things that they do is when they're trying to scrap with one another because they're trying to get the female,
right?
They like essentially puff out their chest.
Yeah.
They kind of flex. They're just like, "Hey, I'm in charge here." And that releases a bunch of dopamine or serotonin or whatever it is, and it makes them feel more confident. But as soon as they lose a fight, they don't want to do it anymore. They're just like, "Oh, every time that happens, I get my butt kicked."
Interesting. So you kind of you now associate losing with that action. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting though. Like for us, it's a little bit different. It kind of exudes a sense of like confidence that you have. I love the explanation that you gave, kind of the standing up for yourself, right? And that's one of the things, again, he mentions, right, specifically is stand up, right? It seems it's also kind of like telling people to kind of get off of their ass a little bit, you know, get off your butt, stand up, and you could break down these words and really kind of find some deeper meaning. So I love what you mentioned there. I like the second thing he did because it's very interesting because this is something I think a lot of people don't do. Treat yourself. Like someone you are responsible for helping. Like this is such a weird terminology he used. Like someone you're responsible for helping. Like it's almost like you're like if you have a child, right? You're responsible to take care of something or help someone or like guide something somewhere. But it's very interesting. Treat yourself like you're responsible, like in a responsible way of helping yourself. So I'm curious what your thought process is behind that and how that helped you in your life.
Oh yeah, no, big time, because for the past like few years, half decade or so, like my dad was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's, so you get a really good taste of like what it's like when you have to take care of someone. And even more recently, like another family member who had something like, we're not sure what it is yet. I don't know if I don't think it's like a heart attack or a stroke, but it's just like, it just didn't look good.
Jeez.
And it's just like immediately, like you just kind of get dialed in. Like if something were to happen to like your spouse, like to Sarah or whoever, or for me, for Julia, it's just like immediately, like you don't have to think about how you feel and is this right for me? Like, is this okay? Like you just go and do it. It's all on impulse almost.
Spring into action.
Right. So I think the big thing is treating yourself like that. It's like if you were taking care of yourself, what would you be telling yourself? Like if someone was taking care of you, what would they be telling you? Because I guarantee you, like you wouldn't be telling yourself, well, it's okay to kick up my feet. It's okay to get a little bit out of shape and just kind of kick back a little bit and just take it easy or whatever. You'd be like, no, we need to do this because this is going to make you better. This is going to take care of yourself. So I think that's kind of like the biggest takeaway from his second rule is just, hey, like treat yourself like you're another person and you need to like really take yourself that seriously.
Yeah, I think I would see it somewhat similar as well. I think there's a huge point of kind of treating yourself. I think there's a side of it where you could be really hard on yourself. I think we kind of go into like, especially men in this society kind of we live in now, a lot of suicides are in that world of just like being hypercritical, hypercriticism of yourself. And I feel like, the key word he puts in here is like you're responsible for helping. Like, make your life easier, help yourself. But at the same time, I love the fact that you mentioned that some people take it too far, right? They just sit at home, do nothing with their life for 20 years, sit in the mom's basement, and that's their life, And I think there is a sense of like, hey, no, you need to treat yourself like you're actually trying to make a bigger difference in life. So I like what you mentioned there.
Right.
Make friends. This is huge, right? For someone, and I've kind of been a little bit associated with kind of what your network and is you became really family oriented, right? And so I'm really curious on how like to make friends with people who want the best for you. I'm really curious on kind of like what that third rule has done for you.
So any like successful entrepreneur will ever tell you, sorry, stuttering, your network is your net worth, like 100%. And if I were to look at your 5 closest friends, I could tell you exactly who you are. If you're hanging around a bunch of drug dealers and you guys are just, like you said, kind of sitting on your butt doing nothing, it's fair to say you're just like that too. Maybe you're not just like them, but you're on your way because you become your association.
Right.
How that's impacted me the most is it's because I'm very particular about the people I allow into my life, and I think everybody should too. There's casual relationships and there's intentional relationships. Casual is more like the people you just kind of hang out with. You're just kind of whatever, you get your social battery out, you just go out and guys have drinks and whatever. That's fun. I mean, yeah, absolutely. Go out and have fun, guys. Like go have a weekend, go out with the boys, do something. But you also want to hang around people that are going to build you up and not just tell you it's okay and tell you, oh no, you're perfect the way you are. That's like the worst thing you can tell someone, like you're perfect the way you are. You want to have people that are like go-getters. They're going out, like maybe they're doing real estate, maybe they're building their business or something like that, not just a bunch of bums sitting on their butts just twiddling their thumbs.
Yeah.
You want to do something that's going to make you greater and impact you greater. I mean, like same thing for your relationships, for whoever you're married. You want to be with someone that's going to uplift you and push you forward in life. Especially in this world now where everything's moving so fast, especially with like AI and all that stuff going on, like you need to be ahead of the game. You need to be constantly moving. Otherwise, just not moving will leave you behind. So whether it's your mental, your spiritual, or your physical health, like be with people that are at or ahead of you in life and are willing to push you forward.
Yeah, I like the always that philosophy. You don't want to be the smartest person in the room.
Yep.
Making friends is a really big aspect of things. The key word I think he mentions here is that with people who want the best for you. I think that there's a sense of like those who around you are kind of like the sinister party, right? Like the Among Us, you know.
Oh yeah.
I wish we had that a noise to play, but the reality is that when you're with people who don't want to see the best for you, they tend to try to bring you down. There's misery loves company type of
Crabs in a bucket.
And so their goal is to always try to make sure that someone is on top, right? So that they feel some good self-esteem. But if you're around others who obviously have a better like outlook on life, who's more positive, goal oriented, they want to see better for themselves and the people around them, the perception definitely changes. The people around them tend to want to be able to see, hey, why can't we all be successful together? Why can't we all grow together? We can find this to make this a win-win scenario instead of a win-lose or a lose-lose in general. So I do like the fact, especially some of the things you mentioned there too.
100%.
The fourth one is compare yourself, which seems very opposite to what the world wants you to do. But he says, compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today. And I think this is so huge. I know I've heard a little bit about your story, and I know exercise was a big, big part. And when we went through this story, one of the things you would do is talk about who you were, how skinny you were, to like how much the transformation has changed you. To, you know, when you were trying to go for volleyball and entering your high school kind of like, you know, sports team. So can you kind of go into a little bit about like how that section, I'm not sure if you met Jordan or, you know, you connected with Jordan Peterson around that time, but I'm curious on kind of what that compare yourself has changed and the way you see that.
Yeah. So, same thing with any life coach will tell you, stop comparing yourself to others. Any coach that I've that's been the coach of my team will tell you the same. Stop comparing yourself to like the top player or whatever. Like, because at the least you don't know what's going on in their life and what they have to deal with. And at the same time, their results don't dictate your success. If anything, if I see someone that's doing much better than me, it just tells me that's possible. Whenever I see like people that I work with or in the gym that they got bigger muscles or even a bigger paycheck or something like that, I get inspired. I just say, wow, I can do that too. Of course I can. They're human. Right. I know they're human. So I'm sure that I'm fully capable of achieving that as well. And it just makes me go, oh shoot, I gotta get on my stuff. I gotta get my stuff together. I gotta make sure that, or I'll just go and talk to them. I'll ask them what they think. I'll be like, how are you doing that? I mean, that's how I got in the gym in the first place. Every time I go in, I talk to the bodybuilder or the strongman or whatever. And it should be no different in any other aspect of your life. Whoever's the high roller at your office or whoever's doing the most, making the shot calls, you should go up to them and be their friend, become their friend, and just say, hey, how are you doing that? I want to know how to do that because I want to be able to take care of myself, take care of my family, et cetera, et cetera. But when some people just go, well, they're just lucky. They just were born in the right situation. And it's like what I said earlier. It's like everyone's dealt a hand. But you can't fold. You just got to deal with it. So just look at the people that know how to play the game already and learn something.
That's a huge statement there. Even when you kind of like talk to the major athletes, right? They always are looking at people. You know, they want to look at individuals who are like in this. Everyone has like an idol. You know what I mean? But they always may say like, never meet your idols,
right?
Because you'll start realizing that they have demons just like you too. You know, so it's always important to kind of like, I like this aspect of just comparing who you were yesterday, getting just 1% better, compounding that, and allowing your life to be able to grow into exponential, you know, growth. You know, so but if you compare yourself to someone else, their skills, their abilities, who they are, how they're built, and you know their life and their story, it's maybe completely different from yours. And the path that they took may not be the same path as you. So focus on your path, focus on what's ahead of you, focus on where you are and where you're going, and you'll tend to be able to get to the direction your goals and achieve those things. So I do like the fact that kind of compare yourself, look at your game film, look at who you were yesterday, and just focus on where you are going today. I think that's really cool. He says, do not, which is interesting, that's all it says, but do not let your children do anything that makes you dislike them. This is like so odd. I understand you want standards and principles and rules in life, you know, and I don't know. I don't know if you have a surprise kid.
No, not yet. Gotta get married first.
But I'm really curious behind that, right? What did you kind of take from this? I didn't read this section of this book, but I'm curious what your perspective is.
So for me, at least, that I've noticed, I think that's kind of a big issue with a lot of parents, especially in this country. Like, a lot of people really want to be friends with their kids. I don't want my kid to hate me. I don't want them to not like me. I want to be their friends. I want to know everything that's going on. The reality is you're the parent. You're the parent first, then the friend second.
Huge.
You need to be able to tell your kid, hey, you're doing something that's going to lead you down the wrong path. You're hanging out with the wrong people. Like, if your kid came home and they started cursing, swearing, and, like, doing bad things, you would tell them, like, hey, you need to stop hanging out with those kids. And you would make them like, hey, you can't hang out with those people anymore because it's leading you astray. Nobody wants to see their kid end up on the street or doing some weird stuff on the internet and for, like, photos and for money and whatever. Like, nobody wants to see their kid doing that. You want your kids to make you proud. That's your legacy right there. Some people, that's their only legacy. So that should be, well, I don't want to look at them as a number, but that's your most important asset, is, like, them being able to carry on.
No, I this is something that I think what you mentioned was huge.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that he calls it a rule, right? Don't let your children do anything that essentially that will make you dislike them. He almost assumes like a rule is to have children. It's almost kind of what is the purpose of life, right? One of the things I find is, like, you can get all the material things you want, you can get all the social things you need, you can have all the friends you have, you can have all the wealth you need, right? But you can't take any of that with you, right? Who are you going to leave it to? Who are you going to pass it down to, right? I always kind of believe in a philosophy of paying it forward, right? But you want to give someone what they deserve. A gentleman I like to watch a lot. Excuse me. So there's a gentleman I like to watch a lot. His name is Patrick Bet David, and he focuses a lot about his the way he raises his children, in a really interesting way. He goes into that dynamic, and he focuses on, like, I ask my kids, I'm like, so hey, after I die, what's going to happen to my resources? Where do you think it should go, right? And then one of the kids, says, hey, I think it should go to the oldest, right? Because he's the next one up. He's like, yeah, but okay, that's a great thing, that's fine, right? But what happens if the oldest dies? The oldest does drugs, or if they fall into bad habits, if they they're stealing and they become a bad person, do you think they should still get it? And even the oldest was like, no, I don't think I deserve it. I shouldn't get it. And so then who should get it? I was like, well, maybe we should just kind of split it between all of us, right? Like, that's fair. Everyone gets it. And he's like, well, what if one of you guys is like, he's not responsible and doesn't invest in the right way, or doesn't use the resources like they should be? And he gets his children to start deciding what's the best route to choose to be able to, divvy up millions and millions of dollars. But he's doing it at such a young age, right? And he gets them to start thinking, like, what type of person should be responsible to be able to get these type of resources and allocate them to make a big change in the world. And I think that's so important. And I think if you can raise your children and get them to start seeing the world the way you see it, you'll very much not have them fall in the liking of disliking them. I find that when you in terms of what he's mentioning here, you disliking your children, I think it comes from, like, when the society raises them and not when you raise them. I think we do have a lot of children. We kind of let YouTube, or we let, like, we just let the teacher, but we don't really take the time in the home to really raise and develop the children. So I think there's a big dynamic here of, like, hey, you don't want to have too much control, but you want to teach your children how to think and how to operate. And I think that's a really big thing that you mentioned there. And I just wanted to say I kind of agree with your thought process behind that as well.
Sure. Yeah, no, and he even says so. You don't want to be the tyrannical father or the devouring mother. You don't want to, like, helicopter your kids into not being able to feel, or like they're too coddled, or you don't want to, like, put them in basically a prison environment where they can't do anything. But you want them to still grow. You need to let them skid their knees a little bit,
of course,
fall off their bike a little bit before you can say, okay, I think they know what they're doing.
Yeah, you can't control children on what to do, but I think you for sure can influence the way they think. And if you do that appropriately and correctly, I think even Patrick Bet David, he makes his children read 20 pages a day. Like, before you could do anything, that's your currency. Like, that's so smart and intelligent way of raising children. And I think that's a really good approach he takes as well. Number 6, set your house, in perfect order before you criticize the world. Man, That was huge. When I read that, I was like, man, that dropped the mic there. So curious your perspective here.
So that's a really big one for me. So I've seen Jordan do quite a number of interviews and panels. One of my favorites is when he goes to Australia, and there was some lady saying something about like, how can you say these like banal comments about cleaning your room where some of us are not going to be able to live to see the effects of like the climate change and all this stuff. And it's like, whatever the issue is, but, and he says that essentially, it's like, well, I'm very careful about whoever is saying all these bright ideas and all these decisions and plans we should have for the world when these people can't even order their own houses. So it's like, it's like the marriage counselor has been divorced 3 times. Like you really think you're going to take them seriously, or the person that's constantly broken in debt, are you going to take financial advice from them? It's like, you need to get yourself in order. And this is something that we teach in where I work too. It's like, you need to be credible. You need to be profitable yourself, because if you're going around telling people you have to do X, Y, and Z, you have to got to do this, you got to do that, but you yourself aren't doing it, well, at the very least, you're a hypocrite. And that no one's going to believe you. They'll nod their head and be like, oh, okay, yeah. But in their head, they're just like, why is this guy telling me this? He doesn't know what he's doing. He's not even successful. He's not even doing this. It's like, it'd be like me going back to clean your room. It'd be like me telling people to clean their room, and they come to my house and it smells like crap, and everything's all in disarray. It's like, sweep your own side of the street first before you start telling people or having these big ideas about how the world should be run, because it clearly shows that you're not capable of handling your own house. Like your home is the one place in the world that you have complete control over. And if you can't manage that, it just shows that you cannot be trusted with this power, this responsibility.
There's a big dynamic, what you're saying. What I kind of gained from it was definitely what you mentioned. But one of the things I found a lot was that, like, if you are, right, supposed to set your house, right, put yourself in a position where you're taking care of your home, one of the things I think is important is that you have to earn it, right? If I hire a maid to take care of my home, I don't feel what it's like to take care of the home. I'm not saying that's negative or bad. I'm just saying essentially is that, right, like, I didn't go and sweep up the dirt, right? I didn't go and scrub the floors. I didn't go and like vacuum, and I didn't go and like set things in the right places and keep them in the right places, right? You don't appreciate why the things are the way they are unless you have done the work and can get where you are. So I feel like a lot of things that are handed to you, especially like, that's why I think one of the things he says is set your house, right? Like, you be the one to be able to build the foundation, build the situation, go through the work to create it, because then you appreciate it more. You don't take it for granted. You don't take these things lightly. You really, really want to earn that space. And I think that's something that's really, really interesting perspective I thought of. But I completely agree with everything that you mentioned there. I don't know if you want to add anything, but
no, yeah, like I don't look down on someone having a maid or having a cook or whatever. I've heard a lot of people that say when they get to a certain, what's it called, like a certain income, cooking your own food, cleaning your house and everything, that takes time, and they could be doing $1 million, $1 billion business deal. I totally get that. I just happen to be a bit passionate about it. I like taking pride in like cleaning my area and cooking. I love to cook, Italian side,
Get excited.
Right? I love it. I love to cook. I love to barbecue. I love to do everything. But there's certain people that are like, they're so busy and they're like, well, you have a maid and everything. And it's like, yeah, because I'm busy.
Yeah.
If you're busy, if you can pay a maid, if you can pay someone to do this and that, handle your chores for you, there's no shame in that.
No shame in it at all.
Yeah.
I think there's a next side of it I like as well. He says, pursue what is meaningful, not what is expected. I had to take some time to really think about that. And what my thoughts were on. I was curious if you already had your thoughts worked out. Pursue what is meaningful, not what is expected.
Sure. I mean, you can never truly expect anything until it happens. I mean, it is what it is.
Oh, hold on. I read this wrong. Now I know why. Now I'm like, why am I thinking about this wrong? So it's pursue what is meaningful, not what is expedient.
Oh, even better.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
our brains are designed to take the path of least resistance.
Fair.
So, of course, we're going to want to do something that's a little bit easier. Maybe we could shortchange this little process, shortcut it here and there, do something that just gets us to get it done and over with. Of course, we want to get things done and over with, but you want to do it in a way where it gets actually taken care of, not just putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound.
Right.
So, for me, that means like, hey, if I need to have that uncomfortable conversation with my spouse or my coworker, or if I need to actually go in and work those hours, those 8 hours, those long shifts, I should do it instead of trying to figure out a way to shortcut or do this or do that or do something just to get it over with, just to get it done. It's like, no, like that's just a whole nother layer of effort that has to be put in, because now you're also trying to figure out, how am I going to shortcut this? And it's just much easier to just be simple-minded about a few things and just go ahead and do it, because sometimes it's just the simplest things that can bring you the most fulfillment. And chasing a life of fulfillment is way better than just having to constantly figure out how to shortchange everything.
Yeah, I think I've thought of it definitely as cooking, like you just was talking about. Like I can go and get fast food, right?
Sure.
It's quick, you know. And it's funny, when I said expedient, but I was thinking of expected. Like I expect when I go to fast food. It's funny, kind of it's the same thing. But I think expedient definitely fits more. You want enriching food, right? You want an enriching life, then you should let it really cook and simmer. You should really, cherish these relationships that you have around you. You never know that what's going to happen in the future. You don't know if there's a future that's going to exist, So trying to make the most out of every day, not the fastest out of every day, rushing to places. It should be more about like really trying to just sit in the calm and sit within people. And I think that's what I like the most, kind of about the trend of essentially his rules for life. So it's very interesting in that perspective. But his number 8 is tell the truth, or at least don't lie, which didn't make much sense to me. I was just like, well, then that means just tell the truth, right? But I think I understand what he meant, but I'm curious to see what you thought.
So, obviously, tell the truth. Like, yeah, duh. Of course, we want to do that. You're not going to get very far if you're dishonest with anybody. But going out of your way to be brutally honest with people is sometimes it can cut off a few people. Like, you don't want to be those people that are like, oh, that's just how I am. I'm just keeping it real. It's like I'm not going to go up to my friend and tell him he's a fat piece of crap. Like, I'm going to just go up to him and be like, yo, hey, maybe we should go to the gym together. Something like that, rather than just embarrassing someone. Like, you don't want to do that. Like, of course, like, I know people have issues. I can see it all the time. I just don't verbalize it in front of them, because it's like, oh, well, yeah, you're telling the truth, but now people just don't like you, and if people don't like you, they don't want to listen to you or talk to you. So for me, that at least means like, hey, don't be a liar. Duh. We should strive to stay away from that, but you want to at least have people to actually like you and listen to you, rather than just embarrassing them and just telling them, well, your life's a mess and you should do this. It's like, dude, no one's going to listen to you if you do that. Come on.
I agree, though. I agree. I think for me, the way what I kind of gained from it was there's times where people will ask you questions that's hard to answer. This is something I find is very, very interesting, especially when I was thinking in the form of a child, right? If a child asks you, is Santa real, right? So you're in a weird situation right now.
That's a tough one.
Like, tell the truth, or at least don't lie, right? And then my question, I would just ask a question in return. Well, is Santa real to you? I was like, yeah. So then that's all that matters. That's what my response would be to a child. Because who am I to, right? I don't want to lie to a child. I don't think you should ever lie, right? Because I always talking about protecting someone's innocence. And especially when I was younger, I would think about that often. I should protect someone's innocence, right? Mm-hmm. I should try to protect people from themselves. And I was like, who am I to do that, right? It's up to you to be able to make that decision, but I should not lie, right? So that's what made me think of, right? People asking questions that I know the truth, that I don't want to answer, because sometimes you just don't want to say the truth, right? But you also don't need to lie. There's always an option to not lie. You just have to just say, plead the fifth,
Yep.
In a way. So that's kind of what I gained from what you mentioned.
Absolutely.
Assume, which I find like, what? Anyone who heard assume, you hear ass out of you and me.
Yeah.
Make an ass out of you and me.
Ass out of you and me.
Don't assume, but assume that the person you're listening to might know something you don't.
Definitely. Yeah. You like I was saying earlier, like you never know. There's some people you might meet, especially with the work I do now. I never know who I'm going to be talking to. I was just talking to a composer that did some of the music for Disney, or I could have met some like superstar real estate agent mogul or whatever. Like you never really know.
Just full stop.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's pretty much. We could just cut it right there. Yeah.
No, that's so huge. Yeah, I think the world needs to listen more, like actually listen.
You got 2 ears and 1 mouth
For a reason. For a big reason. Number 10, be precise in your speech. I think it's kind of self-explanatory, but I think there's something about that. I don't know if you want to go first.
Sure. You can definitely it's like when someone says, well, I want to help people. It's like, duh. Who doesn't want to help people? I want to help people. What does that mean to you? I do that all the time. I try to pick at what people are actually trying to say. Like, oh, like you want to do this? Okay, why do you want to do this? How does that feel to you? What does that make you think? Why haven't you done it before? When are you going to do it? Do you have a timeline? Like actually bring the intangible to the concrete. Because what that does, it actually gets people to do something. Because if you ask anybody how they feel about like whatever it is, the homeless issue, the climate problems, like these issues, like divorce and whatever, it's like, well, I want to fix it. I'm like, so what does that look like to you? What do you think we should do? And it's not me trying to put them down and like say, well, your ideas are stupid. I'm like, if this is something that's super important to you, I think you need to be able to articulate it a little bit.
Sure. I think we call it, in my philosophy, especially in the world that I'm in, we call it SMART goals,
We did too.
Yeah.
Actually, the same acronym. Yeah.
Because it works,
Right.
Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time sensitive.
Yep.
I think it's really important for people to be very specific with the goals that they set. I think it's also, you have to measure these things and you have to see if they are attainable and be realistic and you understand the time sensitive, right? Because there's definitely some truth to that. You do have people who say, hey, look, I want to do something, but have no roadmap to achieve it. Like I want to be, a lot of things, like especially right now, kids want to be, the number one thing a kid wants to be right now is a YouTuber. Number one thing right now.
Knew it. I was like, yeah, YouTuber, streamer, something like that. Yeah.
So the question then is, it's like, okay, well, that's awesome. Hey, shoot, go for it, right? But the question is like, okay, so how you plan on getting there? Like what's the roadmap? What's the, do you know how many hours you have to put? You know how much time you have to put? You know how much investment you're going to need, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I think there's a big gap on being very specific on what you're trying to put out in the world. But I think it's also another side of being very specific on what you shouldn't be saying. So for example, one of the things that someone told me a long time ago is don't say doubt words, right? I don't know. I can't.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those things really could start changing your perception, your mind slowly but surely, and put you in a place where you start really second guessing everything, and not really having a specific trust in yourself. And the way how you speak to yourself is the practice, and you're gonna practice what you preach. So preach appropriately and preach precisely.
Oh yeah, like I will statements versus I can.
Oh yes.
I can is like it might happen. I will says it's going to happen.
Huge.
Like so when I say like I will go on a diet, I will go to the gym, it kind of holds you a little bit. Like mentally, it tells you it's like it is going to happen. And then when you say that to people, it holds you more accountable because now they know. They're like, well, oh shoot, he's going to do it. Watch out.
Watch out.
Yeah.
Do not bother children when they are skateboarding. Now, I have no clue. So maybe you do? I have no clue. What do you? I think I might have understanding what he meant. I didn't read the book, but I'm curious if you understand what he meant.
So at the end of the day, they're kids. It's like, I mean, if a kid's being a little crap, I'm not gonna get super involved. It's like, dude, they're a kid. Like, I'm not gonna argue with them. I'm not gonna, like, if some kid's like skateboarding or whatever, and like I don't have like a strong opinion on skateboarding, but it's like, you know, let them have fun. Let them figure out what they want to do with their life. Let them go out and, you know, make a mess of themselves and see if they can put themselves back together. So, like, you shouldn't be arguing with a kid in general. It's just weird and wrong. Like, it's not your kid as well. Like, if I see a bunch of kids doing something, I'm just like, I mean, as long as they're not doing anything illegal or anything super dangerous, it's like, I'm not going to get involved.
I think there's some sense to that. I think that changes the way I thought about it. I think that's a very appropriate way to look at it as well. For me, I think when I was hearing this, is like, don't bother a kid who's skateboarding. For me, it felt like, don't stop a kid from having fun and being a kid. Soon, they're going to start having to gain responsibilities. That time will come.
Yep.
So you want to appreciate being a child as long as possible. I did a podcast recently with this guy named Noah. And this young lady named Ray, and they were really going in depth of like kind of their childhood and how they had to grow up much faster because of the situations that they're living. And so I think I kind of understand that sense of like, just don't bother that kind of like, there's something special happening right now, and these are moments that's character building. You really just don't want to, you don't want to be the one interfering with that, right? And I think there is some sense of what you just mentioned of that, like, yeah, look, they're gonna grow up eventually, so they'll be able to find their way, as long as you're teaching them how to think, right?
They'll figure it out.
Figure it
Life's going to come.
Number 11, do not bother. Oh, wait. Sorry. Number 12, the final one. Pet a cat when you encounter one on the street. Yeah, that's so odd.
Yeah, and it's kind of a tough one, honestly. Like, I still think about it quite often.
Pet a cat when you encounter one on the street. For me, what I thought was, I was thinking like, you're going to interact with a lot of things and people, right? And you want to just like share love and respect to those things. Take a moment, like to just, when you're busy in a rush, just to appreciate the little things, right? To just kind of connect with those small moments, because those small moments can mean everything, and those things is what you remember. I've done a pod with a older gentleman named Pat. He's a really, really cool dude, and I was talking to him. He's a painter now, and I was asking about kind of like the things he appreciated out of life, and he just kept talking about these small moments. And I was like, what about like these bigger moments when you're in the military? He's like, no, these small moments. Like, it feels like those small moments are like so much more impactful and memorable to individuals. So that's kind of what I gained from it. I'm not sure if you're on the same page as me.
Yeah, being present with what's going on. I think I'm trying to remember. I think he specifically said cats because a dog, it's very easy for like a dog to come up and be your friend, but a cat, it's like they're still very like wild animals comparatively.
Sure.
And for some strange reason, they seem to be fond of people.
Oh.
I don't know why that is. Yeah, it's weird. Like, cats tend to be fond of people. They just kind of like, they're like, oh, they're cool, I guess. They're not like other wild animals that are just like terrified of us or just want to eat us. But
maybe taking risk. Maybe that's what he means.
Yeah, it's like it's an animal that can just decide like it doesn't want to be with you, because everybody knows about it. Like when you go over to your friend's place and you're like, oh my God, a kitty, and you try to pet it, and it's just like, who are you? Right. Like, it's like, oh, people can't handle the rejection, I guess. It's like, wow. Like, these dogs are very happy-go-lucky. They're just like always happy to see you. Doesn't matter if you left for 5 minutes or 5 years. But yeah, being ultimately present with what's going on in the world and just being able to take in those little things. Like, it could be anything as simple as painting or just you walking down the street with your lady, with her in your arm, or doing some cooking, or even just a workout or something like that. I know a lot of my best moments. I mean, aside from my girlfriend, obviously, but I mean, those little times where I can kind of just like zone out in the sauna or
Sure.
in the gym. It's just like, like
Those
this,
peaceful moments.
this feels so good. Yeah.
So that's his 12 rules to life. So I mentioned that I had something really special afterwards. I wanted to kind of go through that first to kind of go into something deep. So are you ready?
Let's do it.
So one of the things that I really find interesting is that Jordan Peterson made a personality test. And what he does essentially is ask a list of questions to try to figure out what type of personality type that someone is, right? So I have paid for this, right? And I'm going to ask you these personality tests.
Oh my gosh.
And we're going to figure out, right, what is
That's awesome.
personality test for you in terms of like who you are and what your mentality is and how you became and what you are, right? There are some things that it says it's best not to take the test under conditions where you make yourself more self-critical. You don't feel like that right now,
Oh,
right?
dude, no.
Awesome.
I'll be fine.
And if you're hungry or want to eat something, we got some food here if you want. Make you no negative or judgmental, no negative or judgmental.
No,
Okay?
I'll handle it. No, this is awesome,
Perfect.
actually.
All right, you feel any feeling of unhappiness or anxiousness? No, like any, no, feels good right now.
I'm sure I'll handle it. I got my
Perfect.
skin's thick enough.
Good. Guys, listen, we got to make sure here. We want to make sure this test is accurate. Okay.
There we go.
Right? No under surface, no suffering of any disorders and anxieties or anything right now. We're good here, right?
I'll handle it. Don't worry.
Okay, all right. There's no rush. Okay, we're not like racing through this, right? And then finally, you will not be interrupted. I'll try not to distract you as much as possible.
You're good.
But I'm very curious, and I'm just gonna be you talking. It's gonna be a lot of you talking. I don't want if you want my opinion on things, just ask and I'll give you my opinion. But it'd be really fun to see. So anyway, all right, guys, ready to get after it? All right, then. All right, so this is a series of questions. Let's get it. Are you seldomly blue? Okay, so it's a 1 through 5, right? 1 is strongly disagree. Okay. In the middle, 3 is neither agree nor disagree. And then 5 is strongly agree, right? Do you seldom feel blue? It'd be fun if this was like the kind of rapid fire thing that you're doing,
Yeah.
Seldom feel, strongly disagree, neither agree nor disagree, or strongly agree. So it's 1 through 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Seldomly feel blue. It's actually a good one. I'd say 3, maybe. It's kind of in the middle. Like, it depends.
I understand that feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like
I have some days.
Yeah, it's not like all the time or none of the time. It's like you go it's a roller coaster sometimes.
Sure.
You go through it. Like, you'll have a period where you're maybe for a week, a day, a few hours, or maybe a whole month or so, you're just like, damn, I ain't feeling good. And then sometimes you're just like, hey, nothing's going to stop me.
Huge. I agree.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in other people's problems.
That depends. Yeah, no, it depends. Yeah.
Yo.
That really depends, though. It's like, is this something stupid? I'm going to be like, get the hell out of my face. I don't want to hear this crap. Like, no.
Strongly disagree. Neither agree nor disagree. Or strongly agree. I am not interested in other people's problems.
I'm not interested in other people's problems.
Chat. Hey, chat. Post. Hey, I really need to know, chat. Tell me what you guys would do.
I would say probably a 4.
Hey, okay. Hey,
and that's being very generous right now, because I can get very like, I don't care. Like, all right, let's just figure this out, dude.
Oh, but you, hey, if that's it is, what it is.
I would say a 4. Yeah, I would
carry out my plans. Strongly disagree, neither agree nor disagree, or strongly agree. Carry out my plans.
Carry out my plans. I'd say 4. Yeah, I don't hit everything, but I hit most of them.
Okay.
Which, I love it. Yeah.
Make friends easily. Strongly disagree.
5.
Ooh.
Strong 5.
So you seem very social.
Yeah, no, it's super interesting. I mean, like from the last podcast, that was really my biggest issue. One of my biggest issues, I guess, is my socialness. Like, if you guys met me when I was 16 or whatever, or 15, you'd be like, "What the hell? This guy's got some issues." Like, I'm typically very introverted. I love staying home, and I'm just like, either it's playing video games, hanging with my lady, doing whatever, just going out to eat, just the two of us, and we're just kind of vibing, doing our own thing. I do a lot of that actually, but like nowadays, I credit this a lot to my work and my girlfriend especially.
Huge.
I'm very social now. I'm selectively extroverted, I would say.
Sure.
Right? Like, I don't think anyone's totally intro, totally extro. You're selectively. It depends on where you're at. And something I've also realized too, and something that's, Julia's talked to me about a lot, is you can't really be introverted if you really want to make something in yourself. You got to talk to everybody. You got to make friends. You got to say hi to everybody. So I chose a line of work that absolutely benefits from that. You have to have this in check, and you have to make sure you're talking to everybody.
Love it. And it's cool to know that as you have grown from it being something of a struggle, but now it's much easier because you worked on it. Something simple for people out there. If you struggle with something, work on it, and you will get good at it. It's just intentional. So
Everything's
really cool.
a muscle.
Yep. Am quick to understand things. Strongly disagree. Strongly agree, or neither agree nor disagree. Am quickly to understand things.
I would say a 4. Yeah, also a 4. Don't always get everything, but once I get it, it's in there. It's
Respect.
locked in the cage. Yeah, like sometimes I need to be told it a few times because the ADD is strong. But once it's in there, yeah, like I'll get it. Like and it sticks in there like photographic memory. So
Love it. Yeah, I wish I had that tool. For real. Get angry easily. Neither agree nor disagree. Strongly agree. Strongly disagree.
Oh, like -1 if I could. Like a 1. Like barely anything phases me now.
Yeah, see, I think it's that muscle. If you're able to work on it, it's really a big thing. And I think when you, especially when you have more control over that kind of emotion side, it helps out a lot. Knowing who you are, it takes a lot for someone to anger someone. So
100%. Yeah, no. And like going back to what we said about being precise, it's really hard to be precise when you're emotional. So I've had very many situations where it has very much tested my emotional IQ. It's very much tested me, who I am as a man. And you have to remain stoic most of the time. You gotta stare into the abyss, and you can't blink. You gotta really handle your stuff. And there's been some nasty stuff that I've had to deal with. And I mean, not everybody's ready for that, or not everybody can handle it. And it is what it is. But whether it's a family member passing away, or when I was working at a bar, it was some guy being a piece of crap to you. You gotta handle yourself, because not just for you as well, but for everybody else around you. Like if you want to be a leader of anything, you need to be someone who has your mentality in check and know how to handle yourself, because then everyone else is going to look to you and see like, oh, okay, Gio's got his stuff in control. Ben's got his stuff in control. Sarah and Julia got their stuff in control. Like, they can handle themselves, and it's going to relax everybody. It just naturally relaxes people to see someone in control. I mean,
control under pressure. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. In even the most crazy circumstances, even in like, like anyone who's seen like these debates that are going on all the time, the person that's screaming their head off and getting all emotional and squawky, it's like, you don't want to listen to that. You're just like, what? This person's got so many issues going on. I can't believe they're even here.
Full stop.
There you go. Yeah. But the guy that's like sitting there like, oh yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. Like they're just very nice. They're very calm and collected. Like Jordan Peterson, any of these like podcasts or debates, panels I've seen him on, I have yet to see him. It's so rare that like the times that I've seen him actually like get a little emotional, it's like I sit up a little bit. I'm like, okay, this is real.
It takes a lot to it's kind of like the poke the bear, right?
Right.
when a bear's hibernating, you let it be.
Yeah, no,
You know,
absolutely. You do not want to bother the people that are always happy-go-lucky all the time, because usually there's a reason for that.
Full stop.
Yeah.
Respect authority. Neither agree, strongly agree, or strongly disagree. Respect authority.
I would say a 5. Definitely respect authority, but it depends. Like, I don't just immediately trust someone just because of their position.
I don't think it's trust, right? It's respect, right?
Respect.
The key word here.
True.
I think respect is a very strong term here. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I could ever say you disrespect. You know, like so.
True.
I can see how you could say like I respect everyone in a way. You know.
Yeah. No. Actually, yeah. You're right. You're absolutely right. So it doesn't matter what they are. Like if it's someone that's much older than me, or if they're a teacher or some kind of authority figure, like a doctor or something, or a police officer, it's like I'm going to respect them.
Yeah.
It's like they've obviously achieved that position somehow. They're somewhat competent, so I'm gonna give them due respect. But now I also trust them because they have that position, so I'm gonna ask them about it. Like, and we shouldn't like just rely on someone just because of their authority. They should actually know what they're saying. But 100%, I'm gonna respect them. Like everyone is always given respect.
Right.
So, you know, I don't want to be rude and be like, oh, you know, like screw you, like old man, whatever. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So, leave my belongings around. Leave my belongings around. Strongly disagree. Neither agree nor disagree. Strongly agree.
So, because Julia's watching this, probably, I would say maybe a 3 or 2, probably a 2. I do have a tendency to sometimes leave some stuff around, but it's
so you strongly disagree.
Yeah, strongly disagree. Sorry,
But in that 2 area. Okay. Got
yeah, keep it in that 2 area. Yeah, I am very good about cleaning up after myself much more than I usually am. Like that's a really big that's a really big thing with me. His rule about keeping your house in order, 100%. So usually I have my things in a certain spot or organized in a certain way. But yeah, like because that's your universe right there.
That's your mental space for sure. It takes up a lot of space if you're not putting things away. So Sarah knows I'm like on the 4 section, but hey, it's okay.
Who's the neat freak in this relationship?
Actually, it's me.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
But I'm not.
Yeah.
But when we both are not like. Sometimes we're both just like disconnected because we're both like locked in. We're both locked in, and so like I'm like how do I explain this? It's all depends on like so it's like let's say it's clothes. If it's like clothes, Sarah's like on top of it, right? If it's like
Julia too, yeah.
Vacuuming, if it's like vacuuming, wiping, or like that's more like me. I'm always Clorox wiping stuff. Like a lot of things, right? If it's like putting stuff back where they belong, Sarah, 100%.
Oh, that's me, yeah.
If it's like doing the dishes, that's me. I'm like always like, let's do dishes, right? So it's very interesting. Cleaning, I'm in, right? If it's like putting things away, Sarah. But I think the question is leave my belongings around. It's a very interesting question, the way you perceive it. So, but I think I still would be on that 4. Sure. Yeah. So get excited.
The first step to solving your problem is admitting you're having it.
Hey,
Don't worry. No, it's all good.
Take charge. You strongly disagree, neither agree nor disagree, or strongly agree. Take charge.
Ooh. Nowadays, I would say it's like a 4 or 5. I'm working up to a 5. I'm a 4.
Okay.
Definitely a 4. Yeah, no.
I think you have to know when to do it,
Oh, of course, yeah. Like you want to make sure you're seizing the moment, and you don't want to just be a control freak. Because at the end of the day, it's like what I said before. You can only control your actions and your emotions. But taking charge in your life, being intentional, having those intentional relationships, those intentional conversations, vitally, vitally, vitally important to everything. Like, you don't want to just let it be and just kind of think like, oh, well, it's just going to happen. Oh, okay, like things will just play out the way they are. No, you need to be on top of everybody. Like, it doesn't matter if you're leading a team or if it's your relationship or especially yourself. If you feel like something's just a little bit out of place, just that is your sign to get up and go and do something. Like, don't leave anything on the table. Don't leave it up to chance, because you can't fully trust the process. You have to actually see it through everything yourself. It doesn't matter if it's the gym, your diet, your relationship, your people, your family, everything. You need to be there and you need to do it.
I completely agree with you here. Enjoy the beauty of nature. Strongly agree. Strongly disagree. Neither agree nor disagree. Enjoy the
6.
beauty of it.
6, dude. Dude, oh my gosh.
Go out like that? Really?
I've lived in Irvine my entire life. And it is nice.
It does say enjoy the beauty of nature. So actually that's fair. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I can see you could enjoy it a lot.
Well, Julie and I are kind of like looking for a place out in Lake Elsinore where we just basically can get a lot of land and something like that. Like me personally, I need to have a lot of land. I need to have space. I've grown up sharing a wall with neighbors. I hate that. I don't want to be. It's just like, makes me feel like I'm in a box. I need to have land, open areas. Maybe it's trees, an open field, something out there. I need to be able to have something where I can spread my legs, walk around, see the wildlife and everything. Overall, I think that's just great for anybody. You need to be able to walk outside, get the sun in your face, get the vitamin D and everything, dude. You gotta do it. You gotta go experience nature, go camping or something. Like, shoot, like talking about like being in the moment. I went hunting with my brother and my cousin like a couple of years back, and that I cannot tell you that. So talking about putting yourself in the zone, that whole trip, it put me in the zone. Like, it wasn't just a moment, it was a multitude of moments where I was just in the zone, and it was fantastic. I recommend it to anybody who's like even considering like going hunting or just like going out in nature. Like, it's just camping with a purpose. Don't worry, like, it'll be fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Am filled with doubts about things. So am filled with doubts about things. Neither agree nor disagree. Strongly agree. Strongly disagree.
I'd say it'd probably be smack in the middle, 3. Yeah.
I think it's vulnerability right there, dude. It's really hard to try to like, put that into words, Doubts is seems like something that can eat at you, for sure.
Well, yeah.
But that's it has its moments, There's situations where you're like, no, going on a bicycle, no doubts, okay? Like, jumping off an airplane, oh
hell no, dude.
Maybe maybe I have some doubts about that. But do you know what where yours lies?
Yeah, like I always have, always in the back of my head, I always have doubts about things. It's always like expect the best, assume the worst, just be prepared. Like, I think that part of me having those doubts is just what helps me stay prepared for anything, because you never can really fully know what's going to happen. I didn't know my dad was going to get diagnosed with Alzheimer's out of the blue just like that. And now my life is completely turned around, or other stuff going on with like the family and stuff like that. I never knew that. Like, that's why you got to keep this in check, your mental in check, because you never know what's actually going to happen. So I'll always try to take charge. I'll always try to do the best I can to move forward in a lot of things, whether it's my career, my life, my girlfriend, or relationship, or like anything else myself. But I'm not like, I can't be 100% sure. I'm going to be like, all right, let's see what this person does. I have someone on my team. Let's see what they can do. Let's see if they can sink or swim. But I'm not gonna hold their hand. I'm not gonna go, oh my gosh, I hope everything's gonna go all right, because realistically, I think that sets you up for failure more than it does to succeed. Because
that's so crazy that you say that. Sorry not to interrupt here.
no, go ahead. Yeah.
One of the things that is funny, Sarah just sent this to me. I saw it before she saw it, but she sent it to me, which I think is interesting as well. She sent me a message. It's a clip of this gentleman explaining the number one reason for divorce. And the number one reason for divorce is failed expectations. And it's huge because, like, it's almost like doubts are kind of healthy, expectations. If you're setting these such high expectations, you have no doubts in the world, and someone doesn't meet them, then like it's burn, crash, landing, and so like someone who has doubts and always is trying to account for them, it could be a positive thing because it keeps the airplane from crashing.
Right.
It's like,
right.
Sir, yeah. I don't know. I think we should double check one more time. Can we just like walk around the plane? Let's just check. We found a loose bolt. Like thank God someone had doubts, like, but there's also another thing where like you can delay something. Like you could delay your potential. You could delay, seeing the best of someone because of someone's doubts. They feel like, oh man, I don't want to, even make a move because I'm scared the marriage is over before it even started. It's like, whoa, what's going on? You're not even giving it a chance. You're not even giving your opportunity a chance. You're not giving your life a chance. You're not giving a situation a chance. So I completely understand that kind of neither agree nor disagree type of aspect of it. Could be a blessing and a curse.
Yeah, no, you're 100% correct though. Like you want to have those like realistic expectations of like, hey, this is what's going on. Especially with something like marriage too, because I mean that's something I'm planning on doing real soon. For me, like what a lot what I've been learning is, you got to set those boundaries. You got to preempt. Do a lot of preempting. Like, hey, this is how we want things to go in our relationship. This is how we want things to go in our business, and this and that. So there's no failed expectations, and then they don't go, oh well, I thought we were going to do things this way. Like some people don't have those awkward conversations about their political status or their religious beliefs or anything like that, or if they want to have kids or not until they're a few years into that relationship. And that can cause major friction because they're like, oh, well, I don't know. I don't want to alienate them. Some people are just so afraid of being alone. And it's like, well, I'd rather be alone than have to deal with someone who resents me because I just didn't talk to them about, hey, I feel about this a certain way. I think we should do this. Like, I made that a mission in our first month of our relationship with Julia. Like, hey, this is how I feel. I want to have this many kids, if not this many. Like, I want to do this. This is how I feel. This is my religion or whatever. Because I don't want to waste my time and I don't want to waste her time trying to figure out, oh, well, if I can convince them. Like, have you ever tried to convince someone of their beliefs? It's damn near impossible.
Sure.
Like someone who's like a Buddhist, I'm not going to convince them to be a Christian. Or if someone is a Republican, I'm not going to convince them to be a Democrat, and vice versa. Like it is hard, but I'd rather just say, hey, you know what? If you're going to be this way, and that's fine. Like I don't want to make I don't want to make us like hate each other.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to like force us to be together just because, well, we just don't want to be alone.
It comes down to really the communication.
Every great relationship is founded on the foundation of great communication. Like, don't be afraid to talk.
Yeah, I think once you get that position, it becomes a lot harder.
Of course.
Feel others' emotions. Strongly disagree. Neither agree nor disagree. Strongly agree. Feel others' emotions.
I strongly agree in the fact that I do know how they're feeling. It's just the matter of care. So like I have a pretty good sense of how some people will feel about a certain topic or a certain like thing that I'm saying or the way that I'm speaking to them. Sometimes I'm just like, hey, you know what, dude? That feeling is subjective and this is the reality.
Oof.
Like what I was saying about the important conversations. Like sometimes you need to tell people what's going on. I've had to tell some people, hey, this is how things need to go. I understand that you're feeling a certain way and you've got these issues going on, but we need to come together on this and figure this out. Otherwise, you're making this more difficult for me than it needs to be because I need to do it's almost like speaking another language, having to navigate through every person's new emotions and how they're feeling every single time. because it just gets exhausting. You're just like, bro, this guy he's just always like down on himself, and he's always feeling like this every time we go out to work, or like every time I talk to my girlfriend or my boyfriend or whatever. I always have to deal with this. I always have to set things up and be very careful. It's like, I just want to be authentic. Like, a lot of people need to realize, like, you need to be careful about how your feelings are limiting someone's ability to be authentic to you.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's so huge. There's a lot of weight right there. I think when you're trying to not be yourself in order to protect yourself, it's like, that's not going to work, you know? You are around someone where you cannot be yourself because you're trying to protect. You already know something's going to go bad. So you're like, screw it. I'm just going to just be what that person wants you to be. Oh, that's just a horrible life, you know? It sucks to live that way. You can't just be free. You can't be at peace, you know? So I completely understand. So that's huge.
Yeah, no, and you don't want to ever start off a conversation with you being disingenuous and not being genuine, because then you're just like, it's like you have to maintain a mask. It's very difficult for someone to maintain a mask for even 10 minutes.
Imposter syndrome.
You get imposter syndrome. It's like the way you talk to Sarah is probably extremely genuine, because you guys had that relationship.
It is what it is.
Julia, yep. Julia knows exactly how I feel about things. She probably knows how I feel before I say it. I've seen it, and it's really funny. I've noticed it. And she's just like, I know. She like knows what I'm going to say about something, and I love that about her. Like, it's like, oh, good, you're paying attention. But like, and I know how she feels about things too, 100%. But if I had to keep playing this game, or if you guys had to keep playing this game of like, well, I need to walk on eggshells about this subject or whatever, it's like, no relationship's going to last that long if you have to constantly navigate the infinite valley of their emotions, because that's subjective, and now you're straying away from the objective.
There is some sense of marriage, though. I'll sit here for a second because and I know we have a lot of questions, but sure. I'll sit here for a second because one of the things I find is really interesting is that there was this thing, a post I saw, you know, it's Instagram, so you know, it's probably some made up shit, but it might be real. Mm-hmm. There was a gentleman who got where his wife and his son had a conversation essentially about like how good her food was, right? And the son was like, "Ooh, this is not the best." But every time the wife made the food for the husband was like, "I love the food." He ate every single bite of it and was like, "This is smacking," right? But his son would ask him like, "Dad, this food kind of sucks," you know? But he would respond was this like, "But I'm the how bad the food tastes to me doesn't it nowhere near outweighs how good it makes me feel that she's happy that I like something that she made and she spent some time trying to create and do. No matter how bad it tastes, that is outweighs it." So even if this sense of like I am being not true, but in the same token, I'm still, it's a net positive, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like the positives outweigh the negatives. Yeah, and I get that. Yeah, absolutely. So it's like, you know, she's super nice and she does all this stuff, or she cooks and cleans, whatever it is, you know, and it's like, hey, I don't care if she burnt the casserole, man. I'm just happy. I'm at peace when I come at home. I get that. Hey, man, if you're happy, I'm jealous. I wish I had that too. I don't have that problem though, because Julia can cook. She's really good at it, dude. She make tripe taste good, dude. I tried it first time and I never had it, and I was like, damn.
I can't stand tripe, but you know what? I have to try Julia's. We'll see.
We'll ask her. No, she's killer at it. But I get that. Yeah, like it can even be something as more serious as like if you have a disagreement with them. Like say this is the wife like getting into something with the son because he did something wrong or something happened or there was a miscommunication, and it's like, hey, like you're doing this and you need to do this, and then the dad just happens to be there or the wife happens to be here, and the spouse takes their side as well, despite them being right or wrong, especially if they're wrong in front of the kid. Because, and this is something Julie and I talked about quite a bit. We talked about it at least 3 or 4 times. You want to also set the example that you guys are a team. You guys are on the same page. So yes, we're going to agree right now, but afterwards we'll go off into the other room and we'll hash it out between the two of us. And we'll be like, hey, babe, so this is what I actually think. I think we should handle like this, whatever. Like, I think you should be doing this at school, whatever it is. But it's very important to also show that, like, hey, whenever the two of us are around, we're a team, we're happy, we're good together, because that also sets a great example for the kids. You want the kids to see, like, hey, this is what a great relationship looks like between the mother and the father. I think about that stuff too when I'm around her family. It's like, because her siblings aren't in a relationship or anything. So when I come over, like, I'm not being disrespectful or rude to her as well.
Right.
I want them to also see, like, hey, like, she's with a man that takes care of her, brings her flowers, does this, and that. And she does the same thing by showing, like, hey, like, I'm a good girlfriend and I do this, and that. Like, because otherwise it screws up the people around you. Like, you have to also look outward at the other people and how you look towards them as the example.
Yeah, I think this question was, and it all stemmed from how do you feeling others' emotions. It really stems from, like, not taking people for granted. There's people in your life, and they might not be there tomorrow. So the fact that you go out of your way to really, like, make sure that every day is a little bit more positive than the next, and or to really show the appreciation you have for others, it makes it a lot easier, not only in your life to have a really happy life, but it makes their life feel happier too. It's a sense of, like, knowing how to make someone happy. On the other side of things, people can take advantage of making someone feel bad. And so it's always important to try to recognize it. Like, do you have someone in your life who's trying to make you feel good, knowing that the things that make you feel good, or have someone who's trying to make your life feel harder, right? Because they know they can make your life harder, right? So
people pleasers, man, watch out.
Yeah, yeah. Be careful here. Next question: what waste my time? Waste my time. Strongly disagree. Neither agree nor disagree. Or strongly agree.
I would say I've definitely gotten better at it too, but yeah, probably a 2. I try not to waste my time too much. I mean, especially with my schedule. Oh my gosh, it's a lot busier now. But I try to make the most of each day that I can. Yeah, no, like, live and die by the schedule, guys. Organize yourselves. Like, having a schedule will really help you get your stuff together.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. I've got a calendar on my phone. I got a calendar in my room. I got a calendar in the kitchen and a whiteboard, and I've also got a journal. And I'm not the best at keeping up with all of those, but just having it around me just kind of holds me accountable so I don't waste my time. Like, track your progress on everything. It doesn't matter if it's your diet. Of course, track your diet, or the reps you do in the gym, or, like, your productivity and work, even if it's something as simple as, like, an hourly job or whatever. Keep yourself organized so you don't waste any more time. You only have so much.
Huge.
Yeah.
Am hard to get to know. Strongly disagree. Neither agree nor disagree. Or strongly agree. Am hard to get to know.
So I would say a 1, actually. I'm very easy to like I'm a bit of an open book. I don't wear my heart on my sleeve, but I'm definitely a bit of an open book. Like, if you ask, I will tell you. Like, that can kind of be a downfall a little bit, because I'm I can sometimes be a little bit too open with some people, because I'm just very in touch with who I am. Like, I know exactly what this is. I know what exactly is going on with my life. And going back to being precise, like, being able to articulate that and bring that up to people, it's like, it makes me feel secure, because I'm not lying to anybody. I'm not putting on a mask. I'm not pretending like I'm like some big macho man who just kind of, like, does whatever the hell he does. If I have something going on with my life, I'll tell you. I mean, I obviously don't want to give out too many personal details, but I'll definitely tell you. It's like, hey, this is what's going on with my life. I'm going through this right now. I'm kind of working on this already, because the way I see it too is it also holds me accountable. It's like when you tell your friends you're going to go on a diet. Oh, I need to lose 50 pounds or whatever. You're more inclined to do so because, well, for one, you verbalized it. You brought it in. Going back to what I said, you're bringing it into the tangible. You're making it more concrete. So you're thinking about it more. You're saying it more. But now your friends are you told your friends. And if you come back like a month or two later and you haven't dropped like 5-10 pounds, they're going to be like, what is wrong with you?
You're not a person of your word, almost, in a way.
Yeah, you have to be a man or a woman of your word. So yeah, no, I'm definitely like more than happy to tell people what's going on. Obviously, I'm trying to dial that back. Try not to be too like open with people, because you got to be careful about the people you associate with. But you know, like I said, it keeps me like accountable with the people I'm talking to, or they're going to be like, oh, I heard you're doing this new thing. Like, how's that going? And I don't have the heart to tell them, even if I barely know them. Like, well, you see, like
accountability is huge. I think that's the beauty of like opening up, you know. It's also, I guess it would be, I like the two ends of the spectrum, accountability and support, right? You have someone who holds you accountable, like, yo, hold up, you said you're gonna drop 5-10 pounds, right? But you also have the support of like, hey, okay, you didn't, so this is what we're gonna do, right? Right. And I think that kind of being open allows people to be able to kind of step in those areas and help fill those spaces. So I agree. I think that's really cool.
Awesome.
Have difficulty understanding abstract ideas. So strongly agree, strongly disagree, strongly agree. And again, kind of abstract is things that don't have any physical, concrete existence, right? It's like an idea or a thought. Having difficulty understanding abstract ideas.
I would say a 4. I'm tend to be the person that exists more in the reality of things.
Okay.
The more I try to orient myself more into the logical sense of things. So abstract ideas like feelings, it's kind of hard for me to go, this is important. I don't understand this. This seems like a waste of time. So it's like definitely like stuff like art. I mean, not all of it. I mean, I have an appreciation for it. Like, but some things that are like super abstract and it's just, I don't get it. There's all these different layers and it's just like my interpretation of it, at least, is very like, it is what it is. Like, I don't try to like make a whole lot of sense of it.
So this is interesting. I think this is the first contradiction we ran into.
Yeah.
First thing you mentioned was that you can feel others' emotions, but then you also mentioned that like I have a difficulty understanding abstract ideas as feelings, you know? So do you feel like you know how people feel, but don't feel how they feel? Or do you feel like, do you understand my concept here?
Yeah, no, actually you're right. Yeah, no, it's probably exactly what you said. Like I understand understand as in like I know how they're feeling.
I can see you're in pain.
It's like I understand. I can see that
you're crying.
I can see you don't like this, but I don't care.
I mean, yo.
Hey, you got to be like that when you're training people. You be like, hey, it looks like you're in pain.
You look like you're.
But I don't care. Do another one.
You got another rep.
You had a bad day today? Great. Let's go have another. Maybe you'll build some character.
Yeah.
Like, no, I think that's probably what it is.
So I'm curious about that. Where like feel others' emotions. We sat there for a long time. I had a great conversation with it. So, but do you feel like it's still strongly agree that you feel others' emotions, or do you feel like that's a little bit different?
With that being said, I would say probably like in the middle. Like, it kind of depends. If someone comes to me,
because you feel love for you, you feel, it's so there is some feelings, of course, right?
Oh, yeah, I've definitely felt love. Julia will tell you. Yeah, no, if someone actually comes and sits down with me and they want to explain how they're feeling about something, I will listen. I will try to understand. I will try to figure out a solution, because I'm very solution oriented. I'm not so much of a
sit in the pity, sit in the swallow, sit in it. You're more like, okay, what are we gonna do about it? How are we gonna solve it? What's like that type of idea? Or
it's like, is it a venting conversation or is it a solution conversation?
Oh, okay, so what are you better at?
Solutions. I think I forgot his name. Oh yeah. No, I think Ben Shapiro said that. He's like, yeah, is this a solution conversation or is this a a venting conversation, because I get that. Like sometimes people need to be like, dude, I had such a crap day and this happened. But if they preempt that, like going back to what I said about preempting, if they say like, hey, I just need to vent for a second, can you just sit there for like 5-10 minutes? And I'll just nod my head and be like, yeah, you know what, that kind of sucks. But I do have a tendency, I definitely do have a tendency to go, well, let's figure this out. Why is this going this way? All right, like that's just the part of me that wants to like fix things in the world. Like I just want to actually like, okay, so why do you feel that way? Why are we doing this? Like what's going on? So let's get to the bottom of this. Let's try to formulate a plan and see what we can make of this, and see if we can get from point A to point B and so on. Because I'm like that too. Like I don't like to sit and wallow in my emotions. Like I like some horrible stuff's happened to me, and like you can't do that.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you'll just be older and more miserable.
By the second, literally.
Yep.
Rarely get irritated. Strongly agree, strongly disagree, neither agree nor disagree. Rarely get irritated.
I would say a 4. Same thing with like emotions being in check. Like it's very rare for people to even see me like get pissed, get annoyed, get upset about something. I usually kind of keep that to myself.
Tends to happen to people who don't have a lot of control. It seems like you have a very good sense of control. So if you don't have, excuse me, let me change that. It seems like it happens to people who don't feel they have control over their life, right? Because if you have control over your life, you're like, well, I'm just gonna fix it. Like, what is there to get irritated about? Because I can fix it. Like, it's kind of like that mentality. Or where do you think that kind of like sense of like, I don't get it very irritated. Just does it come back to like, I just know who I am type of thing?
Yeah, it's I would say the only thing I actually do get irritated is with myself, like, or the things that are going on in my life, because I'm just like, it's more I'm getting irritated that it sucks or it's difficult. I'm just like, why am I tired? Why do I have to keep dealing with this crap? Like, this is so good. It's very rare that if a person's going to piss me off or just something else exterior is going to piss you off, it's usually the interior. I'm usually more critical of myself, but I'm usually more like, I hate this. I hate feeling tired. I hate feeling like I haven't slept and doing this and doing that. And then I'll get out of my car and be like, all right, let's just get it together.
Let's knock this out.
Yeah.
Okay. Believe that I am better than others. Strongly agree, strongly disagree, neither agree nor disagree. So believe that I am better than others.
I would say a 3. And that's for me, that's like, it is a little subjective. Like, cause for me, I don't think I'm just in general better than others. I certainly do not think that. There's so many people out there doing way better than me and doing way better things than I can. There are some things I know that I can do better than other people, and I've seen it 100%, whether it's like certain things about like their home, like getting their stuff together, getting their finances in order, and whatever it is, relationships and stuff like that. I know I'm better at, because I make a point to be better at that. And it's not like a competition. It's more a competition with myself. But I know like there's always going to be someone out there who can, I don't know, go to the gym and lift more weights than me, of course. Yeah, there's always someone out there who just wants to take more testosterone or something. There's always someone who's always going to go to the non-natty side, but oh well. There's always going to be like someone who just puts in a little bit more effort. There's going to be someone who puts like 1 to 10%, 100% more effort than me. That just happens. For me, it's like what I said before. I'm going to ask them how they did it. I'm going to be like, wow, like you can handle that. You're going through something like I'm going through. You can do it. How do I do that? So like, yeah, I'm definitely say I'm ahead of the curve on some people, but
they're kind of student of life.
Right.
Like order. Strongly disagree. Neither agree nor disagree. Or strongly agree. Like order.
That's a big old 5 right there.
Get excited.
That's a big old 5. That's something my girlfriend and I learned really quick. She likes being she likes being a little bit more spontaneous than me. Yeah.
That's me too.
Yeah, really? No.
He's spontaneous.
He doesn't want to follow the schedule, doesn't he? Like, what the hell? Like, dude, 3 to 5 business days for any schedule changes, please. Like, no. Like, no, I'm like
Down
that.
for whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, no, like, sometimes, yeah, no, I'm a little bit down for it. Like, and I've gotten a little bit better at that, but
of course, yeah.
I'm very, like, if I'm in the middle of something or if I'm going and doing something that day and someone tells me, oh, we're going to go out for this thing tonight or something, or we want to do this thing now, I'm just like, I was going to go to the gym and I had to do my meal prep. And now you're going to get mad at me when I say no. Like, come on, man. Like, I get it. No, sometimes people are just like, yeah, let's go out. Screw it. Let's go to the beach, dude.
You have discipline. I think is really good.
Right, and that's...
I'm disciplined in being spontaneous.
Your comfort, you have comfort in the chaos, you know? Hey.
Throw me in there, bro. I'm just... Throw me off a plane. Whatever tea you want to send me.
Drop him in the middle of the woods.
I'm good. I'll make it happen.
Do something. He'll be...
I'm about to 5-step somebody, okay? Look.
He's fine, dude. I'm not. I'm just like, what the hell's going on? Wasn't in the schedule. I didn't plan this. No, yeah, like I'm that comes and goes back to the discipline. Sure, of course, like I need to have that schedule. Like it's like I don't have like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. It's push, pull, legs. No, it's like I organize it by what my workout is, and like all right, I have my meal prep in the fridge. We're gonna go out for In-N-Out. No, it's not it's not in my calories. It's not in my macros.
Get excited,
right?
So okay, this next one is it leads into the last one. Have a strong personality. Strongly disagree. Neither agree nor disagree. Strongly agree.
5.
I can feel it.
Thank you. No, but yeah, like it goes back to what I was saying about like being secure in who you are and understanding yourself. Once you understand yourself, you can understand the world. And like the same thing with like, you know, having your own house in order so you can have the rest of the world in order. I want to make sure that I know who I am and know what's going on, and whether it's my faults or my strengths or my weaknesses or my abilities, I want to be 100% sure in who I am. And I want people to know that, not in a braggadocious way, not in a way where it's overwhelming and I'm just like all over them. Like they need to know this is me. There needs to be no like mystery.
Sure.
They need to know, like, this is who he is. This is how he handles his life. This is how she is. This is how she handles her life. So that way, it's crystal clear. Like, there's no guessing or anything like that. You have to.
Where your standards and principles lie.
Authenticity, yeah. Like, what are your non-negotiables?
Yeah, who you are and where you are and where you're going.
I love to know what people's non-negotiables are because it allows me to know who they are. Like, it doesn't matter if they don't. It doesn't matter if they're not on the same page with me. It doesn't matter if they feel opposite to what I feel or they just straight up don't like what I do. It's like, well, you're showing me the respect by telling me exactly who you are. And interestingly, I think that's why a lot of people tend to sympathize with villains in a lot of media because they are showing you the respect of understanding who you are. It's like a lot of people like Lex Luthor because he understands who Superman is, and he's going to treat him as such. He's not going to be like, oh, this is some whatever alien guy. I'll just do whatever, because then he's not a threat. Like he doesn't care. Like that's how Bane broke Batman's back, because he's smart and he understands who his enemy is.
Yeah, I think one of the things I like. I think one of the best, I guess, recent villains was the kind of how famous he became, the Infinity Wars type of like
Thanos.
You know, you when you see Thanos, you almost like, damn, low-key, I kind of agree. Like, you don't want to you don't want to say it, but like you're thinking like, I actually kind of hope he gets the stones.
Yeah, no.
Like, I hope he does it. I don't know why, but like there's a part of me that kind of wants him to actually kind of like, you kind of hear his like his mentality and thought process, and you start thinking like, yo, yo, there's a strong personality there that I can kind of connect with. It's it's almost like there's a word I'm looking for, but it becomes enticing. I don't know if that's the right term, but it becomes something like, damn, like I could see myself doing that. I could see myself. That's not like, but if I went down a different path, like being able to think in his mentality, his process. That's a great storytelling of a villain right there.
Oh, 100%. I love it when there's a good villain, and I think there's a term for that. I think even Peterson came up with it. I think it's from Carl Jung. He said like being in touch with your shadow, and it can be anything. It's like the people who like understanding Thanos. It's like he is a lot like Stark in the way that he's very intelligent. He's done so much for his world and done all these things. But the way that he came about it is like, hey, like this is how the world's going to end. This is how everything's going to come to an end. Where Stark is he's very optimistic about how the world is going to be. But you can absolutely pinpoint like exactly how he went wrong. And it's like how I would feel if I ended up like that. It's like
relatable.
Or like a big one is Darth Vader. I haven't met any Star Wars fan who is not a fan of Darth Vader. They will every Star Wars fan will tell you that they love Darth Vader because all the movies, that's what they're really about. It's about
that strong personality that you can kind of relate with.
Yeah, you can see like how he became this hopeful kid who got rescued off this. Oh, and see if rescue's kind of kidnapped, but that's how the story really goes. Yeah. He was taken away off this planet to go learn to become a Jedi, and then they just tried to clip his wings. Essentially, they thought he was getting too big for his britches, and that ended up backfiring on them. And he just 180s completely into going into the dark side. And one of the first things he does is go and the younglings.
Yeah.
And it's like, that is like probably the most horrible thing someone could do is just go and kill a bunch of kids. It's like, how could anybody do that? But no, we watched in the first movie, in the second movie, and like most of the third movie, you kind of like, it like shocks you, but it's like you get it. You're just like, wow, like that is terrible. How could anybody do that? But you understand it.
You understand it.
You see how it could have gone.
How that personality came to be. It's very interesting. It's a very
right.
Loving this, man. Loving this, dude. Believe, man. It just keeps leading on to the next thing. Okay. Believe in the importance of art. Strongly disagree. Neither agree nor disagree, or strongly agree. Believe in the importance of art.
So this is also like, I'll just start with the personal, like a 5. I definitely think it's important. As much as I don't like to, as much as I'm not artistically inclined, I do think there is a necessity for it. 100%. It, for lack of a better term, no pun intended, it brings color to the world. It allows you to stand there and understand how people are feeling without the words or sounds being made. It's visual feelings to me.
Yeah, you're a huge gamer. I think it plays into that sense as well.
Yeah, 100%. Like, or it's the same thing how I feel about music. It's audio. It's an audio form of feelings. So, yeah, like even as a gamer, yeah, like there's some games like where you'll literally just stop.
It touches you, yeah,
and you'll just take in the world. So, Tears of the Kingdom just came out. And I watched my friend play it, and
I was trying to get Sarah to buy it. She wouldn't did it.
You're missing out,
dude. Sarah, tell Sarah to buy it.
Get with the program, Sarah.
Sarah, get it.
Jeez,
buy it. Nintendo Switch.
Go to Costco. It's cheaper.
Oh, you heard it here first, folks.
Yeah.
Yep, it's cheaper to get it from Costco.
Costco, give us a sponsor.
Gives you the hookup. No, but one of the first things you do in that game is these big open stone doors just open up, and then you just see the world, and you just kind of like, and then you just jump off this cliff, and you're just like skydiving through the sky, and it's just like you're just taking it all in, and you're just like, wow, like it gives you like this humongous sense of adventure, just like where you can go and everywhere you can go, like just go out and enjoy it. Like that's something like that I think a lot of the gaming industry is missing these days. It's just like that sense of wonder that like connection to that fantasy.
Dude, Japan, the Final Fantasy type of like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Breathtaking, just like this, just out of this universe type of worlds creation. Nintendo's extremely consistent, very good at creating those spaces.
Oh yeah,
art is something that, especially video games, does it so well, which is why it's so kind of infectious. You know, you kind of see yourself, even Elden Ring, and that kind of whole dynamic.
I was just gonna bring that up too. Yeah, like the first thing you do when you walk out and you open those doors, and then the music swells.
Yeah,
and you can just see like the nature and opening out you. Because if anyone's played any of the Dark Souls games, it is somewhat linear, but now you're just kind of seeing something where there's literally nothing there to guide you. There's none of this like tutorial AI. I think I should go over here. This looks like a good idea. I think I should go talk to this. It's like, no, like you literally can take control. You're the master of your universe. You can just go in and do whatever you want. And
it's
you
like
just
a full sandbox.
Yeah, like you kind of like look. It makes you want to look around and just like see like what is that over there? What is that thing? And then you walk up to I forgot the name of the knight, but you walk up to him because he looked friendly and he just kills you. And I'm like, so it's not safe here. Okay, lesson learned. But it makes you want to go walk around and just like go and see. Like I guess credit to the game, it made me go walk up and to my demise. But like it's so great just to see that. It's like, yeah, I love that. I love that type of art where it's just, it gives you a sense of, it gives you a portal into the world
and autonomy to enjoy it the way you would like.
Yeah, like especially with a lot of like the more like Renaissance art, it's like you can really see like how the world was going on at the time and just get a feel of like how people were feeling and what they were doing and just all of that. It's just like, it's amazing. Yeah, of course, art's important.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
We have 7 more pages left.
Hell
okay.
Yeah.
Feel comfortable with myself. Strongly disagree. Neither agree nor disagree. Strongly agree. Feel comfortable with myself.
I'd say 3 as well, like smack in the middle. Yeah, like there are definitely days where I just kind of like, just like feeling blue. There are days where I'm just kind of like, oh, I need to get off my butt and I gotta go do these things. Excuse me. And there are times where I'm just like, I'm just enjoying it. I'm taking it in. I'm enjoying the scenery. This is fun. I like this. I'm in the gym. I'm hanging out, or I'm hanging with my lady.
I think when you hit the flow.
The flow. Yeah.
When you got good rhythm and everything is just like, all right, okay, things are going well in life. I think it helps make me feel more comfortable. I think a lot of people are very uneasy if like, oh, fuck, I should have done this. I should have done this or could have done this, you know? So, I completely understand the kind of agree to disagree type of thing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A lot of people are just not super comfortable being alone in their thoughts. And that's just like, I blame TikTok for that because our attention spans now are like this.
No, huge. You cannot get off the phone. It's really rough. It's so rough to be just with you. That's why I think I love the getting out of cell service.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's a dangerous feeling, but like just going, that's why I used to like going on the plane, but now I don't like it so much. Because when you go on the plane, you used to have no internet, no self-service, no nothing. It's just like 2-3 hours of just.
You're just staring at the plane sailing across the little map, and you're like, "Oh, it's getting closer."
It's getting closer.
It gives you something to focus on.
And you're just like in the zone. No movies, no nothing. It was just like, it's just this. It was like a sense of just open air, you know. So much respect for that situation. I know. Yeah, the world is not the same.
For 30 minutes, and then you got to spend like $30 for the whole flight, and it's like an hour.
Hey, that's why I fly Delta, man. Shout out to Delta 8 sponsor us.
Yeah.
Inquire about others' well-being. Strongly disagree. Neither agree nor disagree. Strongly agree. Inquire about others' well-being.
I would say probably a 3, 2, or no, maybe a 4, and that kind of runs a little contradictory to the things I've said earlier. But it's like what I said with context. Like, I will check on my friends. I will check on my I will check on my family. I will check on people, but yeah, because sometimes they just need that vent, or they need that person to like give them a solution. Like, I'll check on them. I'm not just like sitting there like, oh, your emotions all over the place, go figure it out, like I don't care, like, and then just get back to me when you're done. It's like, I'll follow up with them, I'll see what's going on. I want to be there for them, I want to help them figure it out. Like, shoot, dude, have you ever seen someone make $1 million by themselves, or like lose weight or raise a kid by themselves? Truly, no.
See, that I'm very much on the other side of the spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
I don't check up on anyone. It's not like intentional. It's just that I always believe in the philosophy of put the mask on yourself before you can put the mask on others. But I also recognize that there's you're absolutely right with your perspective. Like, you can't. It's really important for you to be able to remember it's not all about work.
True.
You have to appreciate the people around your life. You never know, they may not be there tomorrow. So that's something I definitely need to work on. But I can appreciate your answer.
Yeah, no, and you want them to be independent too.
Sure.
You don't want to be like that. You don't want to be the parent that's always there on top of their kid. Like, did you do this? Did you do your homework? It's like, you don't want to be that person. Whether
You want
it's
someone to be self-sustaining, for sure.
yeah, you want them to be able to swim on their own. You don't want to have to like always put the water wings on them and make sure they're okay, that they're feeling okay. It's like, yeah, absolutely. But it's just like, it's like a spot check. It's like, hey, is your form okay? Are you doing okay? Everything's good? Need anything from me? Sure, you're cool. Everything's good. That looks great. You need any help with anything? No? All right, bet. Let's get on it.
The next one. Give me 1 second. Sorry.
No worries. But yeah.
Oh, I see what happened here. Okay, never mind. Sarah, take that back. Was trying to send something to Sarah, but didn't work. Okay. Find it difficult to get down to work. Find it difficult to get down to work. Strongly disagree. Strongly agree, or neither agree nor disagree.
So I've kind of made this analogy a few times before, but I require a lot of push before I start to get rolling. And once I start rolling, I'm going. So the key is to always stay on track, because it is very, very easy, especially nowadays, to just go sit in your car, scroll on Instagram, go through the reels, just kind of like not really do anything, just be kind of hands off about a lot of stuff with your work or everything like that. That's something I've struggled with.
Where would you put yourself at?
I would say a 2. I'm kind of on myself a lot more now. Like, I'm a little bit more diligent about that, because I mean, if you asked me this a few months ago, I would probably say like maybe like a 4 or something like that. Yeah, I kind of like slack off. I get distracted, squirrel, like, you know.
Yeah, for sure. I could definitely feel myself in this range right now. Just like avoiding the responsibilities that you have, not intentionally. It's just kind of like the squirrel, you know, the nut is more specific.
Or something that I do is instead of actually doing the thing I'm supposed to, I do something else instead. So like, I'll get home and it's like, I got to do my car registration. I got to do this thing for my class. I got to do this. Why don't I vacuum my room? Oh, I'm done with that. Oh, let's do the laundry. Oh, okay. Now let's clean the kitchen instead of actually getting down to business. You know?
I feel that. Keep others at a distance. Strongly disagree, strongly agree, neither agree or disagree. Keep others at a distance.
Keep others at a distance. I'd say a 2. I tend to keep people in the loop. Like, hey, what's going on? Like, if they like I said, if they ask, I'll let them know. I try not to allow people like to get too involved with my business. I don't want them like knowing every single detail. It's like I'm not going to my friends and telling them what's going on with my relationship, or like, oh, like these are like all of my struggles that I'm going over. I just kind of like say, hey, oh, I'm going through some stuff. I'm going to figure it out. I keep it kind of vague, because they don't need that. I mean, of course, like, I want to be resourceful. I want to reach out to people because it's like what we said earlier. You never know if that person knows much more than you and knows a solution. So since I'm very solution oriented, I'm always looking out for that. I'm just like, oh shoot, I don't know what to do with this. Hey, what do you think?
You're pretty open to.
Yeah, and who knows? They might know the answer, but I also want to be the independent type who actually knows what's going on, actually has their stuff together, and actually can solve all those issues instead of being the guy that's always asking for help and not following through, or the guy who's like, he's always asking for help. He's always needs me to do something for him. I want to be independent, and I also want to be the resource people can come and look to me to be that leader.
Yeah, I love this.
Yeah.
Can handle a lot of information. Strongly disagree. Neither agree nor disagree. Strongly agree. Can handle a lot of information.
5. I can take it in. Like, yeah, maybe.
You mentioned you were pretty logical, so imagine that.
Yeah, no, I might need to hear it a few times, but I take it in. I've been getting a lot better about taking notes nowadays because it's more of a mental thing. We talked about this earlier when I was at work. I do take my notes and I do go through them sometimes, but it's just the act of writing them down and not like typing them, actually writing it down. It kind of cements itself more into your brain. It's like what people say.
You said photographic memory too, so that helps.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You remember like 10% of what someone said, 35% of what you wrote down, and 80% of what you teach.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I would love to get that study. That actually sounds really, really interesting. Hey, send that to me after.
Yeah, I'll try to pull it up. That's just kind of what I heard, but yeah, writing down has definitely helped a lot. Cool. I noticed a big difference when I write down stuff. I can regurgitate it, bring it back from my head.
That's something I struggle with a lot. I can't handle a lot of information. I can't remember things.
Yeah.
Get upset easily. Strongly agree, strongly disagree. Neither agree nor disagree.
0, like a 1. Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh, and it's a pretty easy answer here too.
Yeah. No, same reason we talked about earlier. Like, you got to keep it cool. Cool as a cucumber. Don't let anything faze you, especially when, aside from the other stuff, like I used to work in a bar, you can't lose your crap. The most important weapon that you have is your mouth. Telling people, hey, calm down. Hey, no, it's okay. Put your hand on your shoulder and be like, no, it's okay. Yeah, hey.
You'll be all right.
Yeah, it's all right, dude. Hey, no worries. Hey, let's worry about this another time, okay? Like, hey, let's go over here. Just like diffuse, deflect, everything,
Heard.
And 99% of the time, people will respect that because it's like
everyone's going to have a good time.
Yeah.
Some people are looking for a fight, but those people will get kicked out.
Yeah, they get kicked out. Yeah.
Hate to seem pushy. Strongly disagree. Neither agree nor disagree. Strongly agree.
I would say, hate to seem pushy. I would say a 2, just because I think people need to be pushed a little bit. Like, really, people need to be pushed a little bit more. And not just because I think people are particularly weak or anything. There's not a lot of people in your life that are actually going to push you. Most people will have an emotional investment into you. They will do or say or manifest things in order to make you feel good or feel better. Whether it's your parents, your friends, or anything. They'll try to tell you like, oh, no, it's okay, bud. Oh, no, it's all right. It is what it is. Yeah, there is a time and place for that. But sometimes you need to tell people like, yo, what are we going to do? What are we going to do to fix this? Excuse me. Like, when, like, going back to it, when my dad was diagnosed, it's like people telling me what it's going to be all right is just, it's just a lie. It's just a straight up lie. So that wouldn't even work. It's like, what are we going to do now? What do we have to do? Do we have to fix this? How can we do this? How can we make him comfortable? How are we going to take care of him now? What are we supposed to do? How are we going to organize our lives already? I was already thinking of that. As soon as my dad was on his deathbed, the first thing I told my cousin was, I don't want this to be an excuse. I don't want to let this distract me from anything, because I don't think that's what he would have wanted. I don't think that's what anybody wants. It's like, it is going to happen. Of course, we're all going to kick a bucket sometime. Unfortunately, it happened to be in this manner for my dad. But the best thing I can do is handle it. There is a missing paternal figure in the family now, and someone has to kind of fill that in. There's someone that needs to take charge, be the leader, do X, Y, and Z.
And that was kind of, unfortunately, the big push.
Yeah. Some people, they will be pushed if it's life or if it's another person, so get to it. Dig or what do they call it? Dig your well before you're thirsty. Go through your struggle, suffer through your 20s, do whatever you can, get your experience out, do everything. Because at some point, people are going to get old. At some people, you're going to have your kids one day. They're going to come to you and they're going to ask you something, and you're going to need to help them out. And you don't want to restrict yourself financially, emotionally, physically, because you didn't take care of yourself. One of the big things I would tell people that were thinking of getting a gym membership was, especially if they're trying to have kids, do you want to be able to run after your kids when they're young? Or do you want to say, my knees hurt, my back hurts, I'm tired, I got to sit down for a little bit? Or do you want to walk your daughter down the aisle? Or just you can take it, and you got to take it to that extreme, because it gets people to notice and focus. Because if I just say, "Oh, you want to lose weight, you want to have that summer body, right?" Of course, who the hell doesn't? I'm working on that too. Everybody's working on their summer body always, even in December. But you need to be able to snap people to attention and just say, "Hey, this is actually the reality. This is what's going to happen if you continue down this path." You need to be able to look out onto the horizon and tell them, "This is where you're going. I need you to orient. You need to orient yourself this way. Otherwise, it's just going to bring you more trouble than it's worth." And whether it's your dad unfortunately passing away, or you're just trying to shed some pounds, or go to the gym and go to school or something, having that extreme example, having a very strong why or a very strong nightmare is going to make you get out of bed in the morning, is just going to do wonders for you.
Huge.
Yeah.
Keep things tidy. Strongly disagree. Neither agree nor disagree. Strongly agree. Keep things tidy.
I'd say for the most part, 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Easy clap.
Got to keep your house in order before you start trying to order the world.
Facts. Lack the talent for influencing people. Strongly disagree. Neither agree nor disagree. Strongly agree. Lack the talent for influencing people.
So that's actually something I'm working on. I'd say it's in the middle. Probably a solid 3. I'm the type of person who believes your actions should speak louder than your words. And usually it's, if I am the credible figure, then you're going to just naturally become influenced and want to do what I want to do. I shouldn't have to tell someone that they want to make $1 million or whatever, or they want to be financially independent, or have a healthy body weight, or just be in better physical condition. I should also have to show them.
Lead by example.
Lead by example. Absolutely. That's such a huge thing with me. Do they have the fruit on that tree? I don't want to, if I see an out of shape physical trainer or a personal trainer, I'm just going to be like, bro, you're not even doing it. Right? Or it's like going to a marriage counselor and they've been divorced 3 times. It's like, it's not working for you. I mean, what do you mean? I'm supposed to just believe when you say you're not even following it. But, being that example, lead by example is so huge for me. You gotta get that done.
The whole kind of practice what you preach.
100%. But that is something I'm working on, just kind of being more of an influential figure with people, not just me myself being the example, because some people, you got to talk to them. Unfortunately, we got to talk to people. I would love to not to talk to people.
I agree. I think one of the things I struggle with as well is that kind of I don't want to put it in this context, but giving instead of showing, right? I feel like lately I've been trying to give success, right? But it's just not leading anywhere. It's much easier if people earn it themselves. So show people how to be successful, and it's up to them to decide if they want to pick up or not. And so that influence, the strategy of influencing people, I kind of think of like the laws of leadership by John Maxwell. Levels of leadership, excuse me. You need the position, right? And then you need that permission. You need people to give you the permission to be able to want to influence them. That's by building that relationship. Finally, you show them the production, and then hopefully you have some reproduction, and then you have the pinnacle. But I think there is some sense of like recognizing that if you have the position, the ability to be able to make a difference and influence others, then you need the permission now. You need people to like you. Doesn't matter how good you are at something. If you're an asshole, no one wants to be around you. No one wants to listen to you because you suck. You're mean. You're rude. You're disrespectful. So I completely understand the context.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And we see that every day. Like sometimes it's just the way they say it. Like sometimes people need Andrew Tate to tell them like you're a fat piece of crap. You need to get your stuff together. Or like the fresh and fit people recently that have been blowing up. Like you need to tell them like, hey, you need to get your stuff together. You got to do this right now. Some people need that. They need someone to kind of command them like to success. And some people, they need to be a little bit more like, well, let's try doing things this way. And that typically works for certain people. I happen to be on that side where it's like I need someone to like almost drill sergeant me and just say, hey, go do this, point me in that direction. And I'm like, all right, I'll follow you, because it's very simple. It's very clear where I have to go, and we don't sugarcoat anything.
Yeah, I think there's some dynamics that are really important for people to, especially rule following, right? Like like someone's going to command me to run off a cliff. Hold up.
Yeah.
Right. But it's another thing for someone to command you to go run off a cliff, but you don't know you're running off a cliff, right? There's another, like you're blindfolded or in a way. But there's another thing where you find someone, that permission that you trust, right? You see them where they are, right? You think they have all the good intentions that you want for you. You're not being used or misled. So yeah, you're going to take those advice. Then there's things that are obvious, right? One of the things I think that's really interesting that you were mentioning earlier, if I see, I'm gonna be honest, if I see an obese person and they say work out, right? I'm going to be like, yeah, absolutely. I want to work out.
Right.
Like you don't have to be that example. You are literally leading by example. I know it sounds odd, but the example of what not to do. There's an example of two sides to every coin, right? The example of what to do and what not to do. And in this scenario, in many scenarios, you might interact with people, and most likely of what not to do, what you don't want to do, who you don't want to become. But there are some sheeps in wolf clothing, right? No, wolves in sheep clothing, right?
Yeah.
And that might essentially, lead you the wrong way. So I completely understand that kind of sense of like, if I want to influence people, I need to get to a point where I'm really, really strong in my ideals. I'm leading people in the right direction, and I'm helping to achieve the goals that I can prove myself. Yeah, it's a big thing.
Right. No, and I definitely have a tendency for that. Like we said, if an obese person's saying that, it's like, yeah, I typically am motivated more by the nightmare. Like if I see something I don't like, it's going to motivate me in the opposite direction. Like if I see some guy who's like in his 70s or 80s and he's broke or homeless or whatever, I'm like, I do not want to do that. His kids are estranged and this and that, divorced and all this stuff. It's like, I do not want that one bit. Like living a life of mere existence, I would hate to have that. Like I want to live a life of legacy. So sometimes seeing the negative, it can push you. Like you don't even have to have someone tell you. You can just take them down. Like I went to Mozambique and I see people living in mud huts, and it's like, I do not want this. I don't want to live without electricity, please.
No, dude, it's a perspective change.
Right.
So huge. The next one, love to reflect on things. Strongly disagree, neither agree nor disagree. Strongly agree.
5. It's a big 5.
You're a philosopher over here.
I am super analytical about things.
You said it stoic, so I imagine you kind of had to have that sense of like, yeah, no, for sure.
Right.
You know? Yeah, love it. Okay, give me one sec. So next one. So I'm trying to get to the next page.
No worries. I mean, yeah, just to expand on it a little bit more. I mean, I think people, whenever something has happened, they should take those moments as well to also reflect, understand what has happened.
Look at the game film.
Check the scoreboard. See what's going on. Like, all right, did I do this the right way? Should I have said this that way? Should I have used those words? Because I'm getting this response when I do this, and I'm getting that response when I do that. Is this the right thing? Should I have been doing this? Should I have been altering my vocabulary or my personality in a certain way? Should I have said it this way? It could be anything. It could be strategy. It could be the way that you like go about running your business. Should I be doing this? Am I attracting the correct people? Always reflect. Always be critical. Always like check your pulse. Check your scoreboard. Yeah, like every time I go to the gym, I'm always logging my reps. Every time I eat something, I'm logging the calories. So that way I can notice a trend. Oh, okay, so on Saturdays I tend to dip a little bit, or if I do this, I tend to do better a little bit. Maybe I should do this. Maybe I should alter this. So it allows you to expand your perception from having one day and not knowing what you're going to do tomorrow to weeks out, months out, maybe a year out. Like that goes back to like when I'm always journaling or trying to schedule or write down something. It's so that you know exactly what's going to happen beyond your next paycheck. So you can have a plan. If you don't have a plan, well, nothing's going to happen, dude.
So huge. Feel threatened easily. Strongly disagree. Neither agree nor disagree. Strongly agree.
I'd say 1. I don't ever feel threatened by anybody. Well, for what? Like, I mean, sure, someone can make a lot more money than me, but then again, it's like more of an inspiring thing. I'm like, oh, cool. How do they do that? It's very rare that I feel insecure or like threatened by who they are as a person. Like I'm so lucky and blessed to be surrounded by a lot of very well off, very well to do people, and I have yet to feel threatened at all, because those types of people I try to be around, they're people that are pushing me forward. They shouldn't be threatening me in any way. I shouldn't be around people that threaten me or make me feel uncomfortable in a bad way.
Huge.
Uncomfortable in a good way, like they're going to challenge me and they're going to push me and say, why are you doing this? Like actually be able to test me and say, hey, why are you doing things this way? Are they able to have those uncomfortable conversations with me? To me, that's not even threatening. That's just them actually being a friend. Are they going to look at me in the eyes and stab me in the chest and say, hey, you're not doing this correctly. I think you should do this. You need to be able to do this better. You're better than that. I love that. I love when people do that because it actually exposes me. If I'm not going through any sort of conflict right now, it means I'm not trying hard enough. So I'm being threatened by people. That's just more of an insecurity thing, I think. And some people need to work on it. It is what it is. Like I don't blame people if they feel a little off when someone actually points at them and say you're doing this wrong. But
yeah, some people have a lot to lose, which is unfortunate. Because I mean, you don't have a lot to lose. Maybe you do, but in reality, I feel like if you have gotten where you are, you can get back to where you are again.
Sure.
As long as you earned it, right? Your house is clean. Now your house is hoarders. Okay, listen, did you clean your house the first time? Cool. If you did it the first time, then you could do it again. It's kind of like, got out of shape. Cool. Did you get yourself in shape the first time? Right? Did you get some surgery? Because if you got surgery, then all right, then you didn't earn it. Right. You paid for it. This always comes back to kind of that sense of like you feel threatened when you, I think when you have gotten something that was given to you and that might be taken away and you didn't earn it. I felt like that's the only time I've been threatened, when something was given that I was like, shoot, I didn't earn it. And now I'm scared about how can I get back to where I was if I didn't earn what I was given. And so, or at least don't have the right mentorship to be able to get to where you need to be. So I completely agree and understand. Can't be bothered with others' needs. can't be bothered with others' needs. Strongly agree, disagree? Either agree nor disagree.
I'd say a 1, because needs, that's necessity. That's important. If it's like, subjective feeling stuff that's like not super important, then I'm just like, okay. But if they need something from me, then that's different. I'm their friend. I'm their, their spouse. I'm their family or whatever. If they need me, I'll be there. There's been a few situations where I've had to be there for some people. Like, that's fine. I'll be there. I'm your guy. I need you to be You need to be able to depend on me so that I can depend on you.
It's interesting. Well, the way to look at it. I've always thought this of as like a bad thing.
Yeah.
I'll explain. Well, more of it's just kind of like the sense of distraction. Mm-hmm. If my mom's car breaks down, right, and I got to get to work, and mom's like, hey, man, I need someone to pick me up. I got to go to the airport. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be like, yo, mom, but I got to go work, right? Like, does her needs trump my needs? Whose needs, right? So it's like I'm not trying to be, right, can't be bothered with other needs. Like I really can't. Like, but if I do it, right, and let's say there is really nothing to lose, right, but maybe there is. It changes the course of time. It changes the course of everything. Right. That one decision can change the direct trajectory of where someone goes. So I've always been the type of person of like, don't bother others, right. Don't ask for too much, but again, take care of your needs, and once your needs are met, then you have the ability to take care of others. But I love the fact that you have this different sense of perspective. Like, I think it's really, really important to take care of those around you as well, because you never know that day when I call my mom, it's like, yo, mom, my car's broken down, and she's like, sorry, honey.
Should have thought about that.
Should have thought about that.
Yeah.
Shit. I gotta get to the airport. Take an Uber. Sorry. Shit. Okay.
Yeah, knowing you're right too, because you don't want to be that person that's always there for people, and
living for others, not
like
others, so.
you can't save someone from drowning until you learn how to swim.
Mm.
Like, you want to be that person that also has the capacity to help people in need. That's something like that I talk about too, is like increasing your capacity. You want to be that resourceful person that whenever someone comes to you and they say, dude, I'm having this issue, I don't want to have to say, bro, I got a shift tomorrow, I can't.
Yo.
My kid told me that he wants to do freaking like club football or something, and I don't want to say, I can't be there, I gotta, work an extra shift, that's going to cost a lot of money. Like, I want to be that resource, because if they need it, then I want to be that guy. You want to be that girl that's there, that can be the person that they can 100% rely on. Because then that's really how you build your network. That's how you really get people to trust you and depend on you. And then they'll sail across the ocean with you,
right,
in a rowboat. Like, they'll do everything with you, because they're like, yo, excuse me, Ben's that guy. He's got our back. He can do everything. Like, anytime we call Ben, he's just like, I'll call a guy, get it sorted out. Like, I remember this very interesting story about this guy. He was in some like network marketing thing. I forget how it goes exactly, but basically this guy's his wife got diagnosed with like a terminal cancer, and one of the dying wish of this guy's wife, his poor wife, was she wanted to be able to watch the sunrise on one of the Michigan lakes, because they had like a house out there. But unfortunately, due to the condition she was in, she was hooked up to so many machines. She was cyborg, dude. She was hooked up to so many machines. Like, there's no way that could go on an airplane. There's nothing they could do. So he made some calls. He was trying to figure out like what to do, being solution oriented. He was trying to figure out like, oh shit, what can I do? Like, there's no airplanes out there that have this kind of space. What can I do? And he called his friend, and his friend, who happens to be real buddy with one of the airlines, was able to get one of the planes gutted, like no seats, completely blank, and they were able to wheel her onto this blank plane with all the tools and everything and the medical supplies, so that she could still be alive. And they flew her out to Michigan, and she was able to go to like their winter house or something, and was able to live out the last like week or so of her life being able to watch the sunrise on the lake. Like, that gesture alone cost the guy, I don't know, close to $500,000.
Probably.
And he was a rich guy, but he wasn't a rich guy. And the guy comes back, the widowed husband goes to the guy, he says, hey, I'll write you a check. I'll try to pay this off as best as I can. And he's like, no, it's okay. Handle it. No, dude, you got to see your wife. Like, obviously, he was doing a gesture, so he didn't have to pay, but the guy's being polite. He wants to pay back. But the guy was able to fulfill his friend's wife's dying wishes. And he's just like, I'll recover from this. I've already built my network. I got my stuff together. That alone is just like, that is power right there.
That's huge.
You're able to help fulfill people's dying wishes. You're able to give people what they really need, fulfill those real needs. Like, that's crazy. Yeah.
Woo. Mess things up. Strongly disagree. Neither agree nor disagree. Strongly agree. Mess things up.
3. If you're not messing things up, you're not trying hard enough.
Interesting.
I'd say I definitely mess things up quite a bit.
Yeah, me too. Wifey, she lets me know.
Yeah. They're really good at that. It's
very
awesome,
good, dude.
I love it.
It's like a superpower.
Right? Yeah.
I was so quick.
Yeah.
I was so quick. I turned the corner like, you didn't put the toothpaste back in the cup. It's like, oh shit.
Oh my god, dude! Not the toothpaste. You gotta be
kidding
kidding me.
No, it was so quick.
Oh my god, rookie mistakes.
Rookie mistakes.
No, yeah, and I mean that's also one of the things that attracted me to Julia. It's like she's really quick to just, hey, fix that big guy. Like, no,
Hold up.
You're right. Hey, you're doing this wrong. Do this. I love that. No, and I do make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. Of course you're going to make mistakes. I encourage everyone to make mistakes. Don't be stupid, but learn. Go out, fall on your face, run a business or something, pursue something important, and see if what happens when you fail a test. See what happens when you declare bankruptcy. See what happens when, like, some crazy crap happens where, like, I don't know, maybe like your family just doesn't believe you, or you're going through some issues with your loved ones, or your friend circle thinks you're stupid. Go through that. I guarantee you it's going to put enough calluses on your heart. You're going to be stone. You'll be untouchable. You don't want to live in a life where everything's plastic and saran wrapped and bubble wrapped. You need to be able to go out there and like actually make something yourself. Nobody bench presses 500 pounds the first time they try. Believe me, I haven't tried yet. But okay, we'll make it a little easier. No one bench presses 225 on their first try. It was tough. My shoulders hurt. Everything hurt. It doesn't feel good. You feel like you're going to die because, like, it's one of those exercises where, like, if it's not like squatting where you can kind of just bail out. You can just throw the bar off of you. If you fail a bench press, you're dead.
Facts.
I mean,
that's your neck.
Yeah, have a spotter, but if you actually want to do it, don't have a spotter. No, don't actually do that. That's not safe. But you know what I mean? Like, go out there.
Be a real man.
Yeah, be a man, guys. You got to do it. Don't be a little bitch. No, but yeah, go out there and actually push yourself. Nobody actually achieved anything without having to push themselves. Make those mistakes. I can tell you, like ask any real successful entrepreneur, any person that has any incredible amount of success, Elon Musk, Donald Trump, whatever. They've failed more than you have. They just didn't quit. They've failed so many times. Or ask any of the people on Shark Tank. They see hundreds of thousands of businesses come before them and go away through decades and decades and decades. And they will tell you all the mistakes people make, all the things that they learned from, and all the things they've done. Do that. Like, go through that. Like, get slapped in the face a few times. Get told no. And learn how to handle that.
Yeah, I think it's important. Especially kind of the messing things up dynamic. There's a saying I think someone mentioned, making a mistake is a lesson, right? You don't really take losses, you take lessons, right? And Michael Jordan,
Oh yeah.
Kobe Bryant,
Oh yeah.
they saw like LeBron, some of the best, Steph Curry, some of the best basketball players in the entire world. All of them have in common, they missed more shots than everyone else.
Oh yeah.
It's weird. It's weird how that works. You miss more shots than anyone else in your entire career, and still MVP, still like the most valuable player because you're willing to take that shot. So go be willing to mess things up.
Right. Or well, yeah, John Maxwell. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he says too.
Good stuff.
Absolutely.
Right there. Yo, man. Dropping bombs over here. Mr. Sattin's going in. Reveal little about yourself. Reveal little about myself.
That's kind of like that other question, but yeah, too. I don't really hide too much about me. Yeah, when people ask, I let them know, and it's more so like, I guess, expanding on it a little bit more too. It's more like so that they know, hey, stuff's going on with my life too, man. I got some pretty messed up stuff going on. There's some stuff I have to deal with whether it's like family and all that other crap that life is just gonna throw at you. But hey, that's what's gonna happen.
How do you respond? So what do you think? 4 or 5?
Oh,
3, 2, 1.
2.
2?
Yeah.
Strongly disagree. Reveal little about myself.
So I don't reveal a little about myself.
Got it.
That's just the wording. I'm just like a little like.
It's just these tongue twisters.
Yeah.
Like to solve complex problems. Strongly disagree. Neither agree nor disagree. Strongly agree.
5. I'm a solution seeker. I don't care what it is.
He said this is national treasure. Ben edition.
Yeah. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's tying your shoes or foreign policy.
Da Vinci Code. I got
it. The Da Vinci Code. What's on the back of that independence, Mr. President? No, I want to solve it. Like that's just in me. Like I always like to have a solution for something, and it's like even if it's not a good idea, like it's always good to it's always interesting to think about.
Sure.
Doesn't matter what it is. It could be like, what kind of camera should we use for this podcast, or would it be like, what are your thoughts on like the homeless situation in California, or like how can we tackle like the the education? It's like, excuse me again. I'd still like to think about it. Like it's interesting. It makes you more. I think the word is ingratiated in your beliefs. It allows you to actually think about what you're saying and what you're doing. You're not just. I'm trying to think the term Jordan Peterson used. You're not just explaining these pseudo-moralistic affectations just to sound good to others. Like, well, I think we should just all get along. Great. You're so intelligent. What a 200 IQ move. You think we should all get along? Really? No, I like having like these discussions. I have them with my friends sometimes about what we think about these things, because it just allows you to actually think about what you're saying. And we do challenge each other on a few of them. They'll be like, oh, that's kind of a different issue, but like we'll actually speak to it one another about it. And we're not afraid to like criticize a little bit.
Huge. I like this. I completely agree. Be willing to solve complex issues.
Yeah.
It's going to be able to make you stronger, so you can, whether how little or how big, be willing. Be prepared. And test yourself. It's okay. You might be on the wrong side of the coin. But how are you gonna know if you don't try to attempt to solve them? So
worst thing you can do is put yourself in an echo chamber with a bunch of yes men, yes women. Because like, how do you grow?
Yeah.
How do you grow when you tell someone you're perfect the way you are?
How do you be the best version who you are? Oh, that's an interesting concept too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're perfect the way you are. That's very, very interesting. We're getting deep here. All right, a few more questions here. Keep my emotions under control. Strongly agree, strongly disagree. Neither agree nor disagree. Keep my emotions under control.
5. Even with Julia, she knows that like I sometimes tend to keep my emotions under control. I try to
That's stoic in you.
Yeah, I try to solve them. I try to organize them. Usually, it's just with her. I trust her with that because she's like the perfect person to like talk about these things.
And why is that?
A lot of it is trust. A big issue that I had dealing with when I was growing up was being open with people, because I felt like every time I had opened my mouth around certain people, I would say a lot of it, maybe in my family, is I would think I was getting judged for it or not even being acknowledged for it. And I would sometimes even hear about it from other people, from other family friends. And that just really drove me all the way introverted. Because that's when I was, like, when I was 14, 15, that's when I was like peak introvert. Did not talk to anybody, just played video games all day.
So what was the backside of that? I'm curious. What made it easier to speak to Julia versus what about it makes it perfect kind of the conversation be able to have with her? Makes it a 5.
She wants the best for me. I know that for a fact. She wants the best for us. I mean, that's probably a better answer. She wants the best for us and knows that I think a certain way and that she thinks a certain way and that we both want to achieve these great things, but we got to act a certain way in order to do that. So, yeah, it's okay for us to just be like, God damn it, I had a shit day. But, like, at the same time, she knows I respond very well to the, you need to get your shit together.
Mm.
And I do need to be told that sometimes, often. And, like, I have to congratulate her for dealing with that. Mm. But, like, I love that. I need someone to tell me that. I don't have a lot of people that tell me what to do because I do have that strong personality. And some people may think, like, oh, this guy's like, I don't want to say no to this guy. Like, he already knows what he wants and he knows he's going to do this, so I don't want to bother. That can drive some people away. Sometimes they're not ready for that, or it kind of makes them feel cautious or threatened or whatever it is. But having that person, that special person in my life that's going to do that and tell me that is huge. Being able to have someone who's like your coach and say, hey, I think you should do things this way. You need to do this. I ask her about everything I do pretty much nowadays. It's so strange because usually I'm not like that. I try to be very independent usually, but I've gotten a lot better at just like telling you, like, this is what I'm thinking. This is what I do. We actually go on walks pretty often now, and I'll just literally just tell her everything that's on my mind. Because not only is she also going to help me figure it out, and she does, it's also going to organize my thoughts better.
I'm going to dig here.
Okay.
I'm going to dig here for a second. This might be the last question. We might have to be able to finish the rest later if you're cool with that.
Yeah.
I would love to do another show.
I would love to, yeah.
So, one of the things I'm really curious about is, I'm going to dig here. You're talking about going in, like, opening up to someone.
Yeah.
You're not concerned about being a burden.
Yeah.
Do you understand my question?
Yes.
I want to rephrase it.
Yeah, like, you don't want to be this person that's going and saying, these are all the issues that I have. I'm dealing with this. Oh my gosh, my life.
And it's not so much like the nagging side of that, not like come save me, but it's more about like you're putting, she's going through, right? Mm-hmm. You're going through, right? But you're able to open up with her, and there's this, and you mentioned this thing, and she's the perfect person to do that with, right? Her life doesn't change regardless if you, I want to say her life doesn't change, but you understand my perception, right? It doesn't seem as if she gets like more caught up in your emotions. She's actually someone who's able to keep those two things kind of separate. I don't know if you understand my perspective.
Yeah, no, and I do notice. I try to be very conscious of that because, again, I don't want to be a burden. Like, I don't want to be this person where I'm not being conscious of how she's feeling or another person's feeling. And I'm just always trauma dump. And then, like, you just got to deal with it. You just got to give me the solutions. You got to handle it. It's like, hey, at a certain point, I got to do it. Like, that's the thing. That's the kind of how I view, our soon to be marriage at some point, it's not 50-50, it's 100-100. Like, we both got to be able to give as much as we can to one another, because we're a team. We're together. We're planning on having kids one day. We're planning on doing all these great, amazing things. And I can't be just like expecting someone to always just be there for me to just like take everything, and I'm not giving enough either. Like, you need to give yourself as well. When she's having, because she's doing the Miss Philippines USA competition.
Whew.
I know it's taking a toll. Any serious competition like that, it takes a toll on someone. The last thing I want to do is add to that. And just like, if I see her stressed out or something like that, I don't want to be like, oh, hey, by the way, I'm going through some shit too. Like, no, dude, I need to be the rock. Sometimes you need to be the rock. I need to be the anchor. I want to make sure to be the anchor. I hate seeing people in distress like that. Like, I want her to win. I want her to win as well. Like, it can't just be me. Like, we both want to win. So when she's going through some stuff or I'm going through some stuff, I want to go out there and just be like, hey, let's do this together. I understand that you're going through some stuff. I'm going through some stuff. Let's do it together. Let's put aside like the nonsense. Let's actually get down to business. I don't want to.
Less words, more action.
Right.
So the sense of, like, you mentioned, you said a stated things like we both are going to be 100-100. I'm digging here.
Yeah.
What do you mean by 100-100, right? Because you mentioned that she's going to have down days, right? So she's going to be at 50. Doesn't mean you have to be 150 and she has to be 50. Is that, you understand my concept here? Like, you mentioned this kind of sense of like 100. What is 100 of like of Ben? Is it like work ethic? Student mentality, positive attitude, you know, reliability, dependability, like all those things are firing at full cylinders.
Yeah, and I think it also comes down to that communication as well, because you need to also tell the person like, hey, I'm feeling a 50 today, or I'm feeling a 30 or a 10 or a 5 today. You need to tell them like, hey, I'm not feeling so hot. This is what's going on.
So she's good at listening.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's an amazing listener. I thought I was a great listener. She's better than me at that for sure. But yeah, being able to also say like,
and she like digests it, articulates it, compresses it, and then spits out like just like straight fire, like type thing. Is that like?
Yeah, and she says it in the way that I need to hear it too.
Interesting. That's so cool.
Yeah,
that's cool to have someone who kind of computes. It's like turning C++, you know,
into Python or something. Yeah. No, it's great.
Like some AI, you put it in the chat and it spits out. It's like, damn, actually, that's exactly what I was looking for.
I think it's because she speaks 2 languages, so she kind of like understands the concept. So it's like, yeah, like she gets it. But no, yeah, like we just need to make sure we're open with each other and always telling each other what actually is going on. Like, I'm feeling like this today. I'm feeling like that, and this is what I think we should do. We should handle this so that way we can all like cross this bridge together. We can all like walk across this obstacle together. So we're not just assuming or just getting passive aggressive with one another. It's just because that just doesn't work. It's a lack of communication. A lot of it is just lack of communication. And the fact that, I mean, I attribute that to us being together for so long. We've been together since, what's today? 5th? The 6th? 6th? 7th? So that's 3 years, 6 months, and 5 days. 7 days, sorry. Yeah, we've been together for that long. We're coming up on our 4th year, like this December. It's been like, I'm like, wow, like this is the longest relationship I've ever had with anybody. So, I mean, if we weren't communicating, if we weren't actually like doing things the way we wanted to, if we were just being casual with one another, I don't think the relationship would have ever lasted this long.
Sure.
I've seen plenty of casual relationships that last a long time, like from personal experience too, and they don't last. They don't. Or it's not even a relationship. It's a situationship. You know?
No, it's true. I think, I guess my final question for you, you mentioned that the way you guys communicate changes it was very different from the way your family communicated. What is the difference? And you mentioned that she's a perfect communicator, so I'm curious on just like that final section.
So the difference between my family and okay, yeah, okay, now I'm getting it.
Yeah, because you mentioned that it was really hard for you to open up, right? The question originally was keep my emotions under control, right? So you tend to do very well to keep your emotions under control, right? But you also realize that there's times where you're able to communicate with your significant other, right? And be able to have these deep conversations about topics and be able to have a really good conversation about them. Doesn't end up in like, arguments or fights maybe sometimes, but like most of it is actually able to be articulated and come into more of a positive network. So I'm curious on like what's the difference between your communication with your family at one point versus your communication with her?
So I have a tendency when I get overwhelmed or anything, or if I do get emotional, I tend to just shut down. It's like I'm shutting down all the like unnecessary stuff. So like I just get very quiet, and I just get very blank, and I just stop engaging, and then I just start staring, and then just start giving one word answers, and it's like a complete shift. It's like I don't even want to be a part of this. I just want to be gone. I just want to go away or just leave. Just literally just leave. Not like leave, but like I just go up to my room. I just don't want to engage. It's like this is not getting anywhere. I don't want to do it anymore. Because the big issue that I had with my family is that they would share all these details, which, I mean, if you've got some issues at home, or if there's some issues you're having with your family or your loved ones, don't share with your friends and all the other people in the world. Like you're airing out dirty laundry. Like it felt like airing out dirty laundry. Like I don't like hearing about myself from other people in a negative light, especially. It's just like it feels like I'm having other people involved in my business. It's like, who are you to like start telling me how I should act? And like, well, there's this thing that your so-and-so said, so I think you should. It's like, shut up. I don't want to hear it. Like, come on, man. Like, I don't want to do that. And I mean, thank God Julia doesn't do that. Like, we'll actually work on it together. Like, whatever, if I have any issues, no one's going to know about it. No, not my friends, maybe not even her family or my family. It's just going to be between the two of us because we're a team. It's the two of us, right? So why are we involving so many people? There's one thing if you're being resourceful and looking outwards and need help on something, but overall it should be between the two of you. You guys are a team, right? So work it out. Like that's where that 100-100 comes in. It's like, hey, let's stop playing a game. Let's stop being like, well, I did my share. It's like, no, let's figure this out. I know that I'm doing my part. Let's figure out why there's a disconnect between the two of us, and let's see how we can bring you back to here or something like that. Let's actually work on it together. We don't need to tell all our friends. We don't need to go and do all this crap. Let's actually fix this issue. And yeah, like,
see, I think I'm 50-50 here. So my 50 is that I'm very open. Every single soul. I've always had this belief of radical kind of transparency.
Right.
Personal, professional, intimate, whatever, right? I've always kind of had that type of mentality. I respect this kind of sense of like, team, right? Like, hey, look, this is like the rock hard. This is like between, it's us guys versus the universe, But I've always been like concerned with like, I don't want to call it in this general term, audience capture or like tunnel vision or like kind of like this like hyper focused of like cult mind, like, you know what I mean? Like it's, you have like this group hive mind, I guess that's a better term. You have this like small group and you kind of like are creating something, and I'm very open of challenging my thoughts and my opinions with a lot of different individuals. And I'm not saying that you're not, so please don't take it that way.
Absolutely.
My point of saying this is that I was really awesome to kind of hear that you have this super awesome be able to have open communication with someone who doesn't judge you and doesn't have like that sense of like who wants to help, right? Who wants your best, not your best, but our best interest in heart, you know, really trying to make sure that everyone wins. This is a win-win scenario, and that's really, really cool. But I think what I caught from what you're saying is that one of the things that you really didn't like was the drama. It felt like it was more dramatized than it was of like educational, trying to learn, trying to get better, trying to like grow. Instead, it felt like it was like media. It was like, I'm just trying to get some brownie points with my friends and talk about some like dirty stuff that's going on in my house.
Yeah.
Like, it felt dirty. It didn't feel like they were doing it. I don't know. Maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what kind of felt like you don't like. It seems like you don't really, it's not that even you're talking about some things about like your father's past and your situation with your family. Right. You're not doing it in a term to demean them or make them feel bad. You're doing it in a way of just saying that like, no, this is the scenario situation I was going through. And maybe this might help someone out in the world who may be going through something similar. This is how I dealt with that something. And this is how we can learn from that. You love the educated, I don't want to call it debate because I think I don't know if you can see it that way, but can you give me just that final sense of context there of that dynamic with you and your spouse?
Yeah, like I always enjoy the back and forth because it does certainly tell me that that we're both trying, like we both care 100%. It's just when you start involving other people, unless they are already educated or if they're coming out as a third party, and even then that's very difficult to do. It's like now I have to explain myself to someone, and now I have to explain myself to another person. And another person, in a way that they can understand. And it's like a whole bunch of hearsay and like he said, she said, and it's like it just gets wrapped in like so many different, like this spaghetti of conversation where it's just like it's just so much. Like now I have to explain, like let's say there was some marital issue, whatever. Now and I decided to talk to my friend about it, and now I'm talking to him, and he's obviously or she's gonna obviously mention it, or there's always that possibility at least of them talking to another person, and now they're involved and this other person is involved, or if she's doing it, this person's involved, that person's involved, and now they have an understanding, and it's just it also compromises our image. I feel like it also like kind of shows like a lack of ability to just kind of handle your situation. It's like, hey, you guys are together, like you guys are sorting this out, you guys should be able to go and handle it. Like you don't need to keep like coming to us about why this is not working and that's not working, whatever. And it's like, hey, like if you guys need some help or whatever, it's like the husband or the wife needs to spend a night at my place or whatever. It's like, sure, just don't tell me. I don't want to know. Just figure it out. Like if you need to spend the night at my place, okay, sure, we'll figure it out. You'll figure it out. But getting my opinion involved, it just becomes so polarizing and political, and it's just like there's already enough things I have to worry about. Why am I giving my friends all this crap that I have to worry about?
It's interesting.
Yeah.
So I would love to dive into this more. This is such an interesting. No, I mean, I don't know if I have the how do I say it? The mental sharpness to navigate this conversation correctly. The reason I'm interested in this, right? It's obviously we had some messages prior to meeting.
Yeah.
And so I find it very interesting the way you and yours conduct yourself, and I think it's awesome. I think it's cool to be able to see someone who's very strong in terms of their standards and principles they set for themselves. And I was just curious on kind of like the dynamic that you have in terms of communicating with someone that you trust and someone that you love and someone that that supports you in your endeavors and your goals and your aspirations in life. And so no, I'm really grateful you came on and was able to kind of express. Mainly, we dug deep as much as I could into your mind as much as I could. I would stay here till 12, but I know Sarah is about to get to. And so it might hit that time.
We'll just get her something to eat. We'll be fine. Yeah.
Yeah. I made a promise, so
it makes most people happy. Just give them something to eat, dude. Cook them something. Hey, yeah. If you guys don't know how to cook someone something. They will do everything for you.
Say love.
Yeah.
But no, I'm really grateful that you were able to kind of dive into it and express yourself, and it was really cool to kind of dig into this space and get to know about your personality and your thought process behind things. I think I've always enjoyed having conversation with you. I'm excited whether even off camera or on camera that we can have those deep conversations as well.
Always
About these topics that I think we both find very interesting. So regardless, I appreciate you beyond. Where can people find you? How can people connect with you?
So I took your advice. So it's like I'm gonna be uploading some more videos. I'm working on it. But my Instagram, for me at least, it's at Sattini Lamborghini. So it's SATTINI _Lamborghini.
And Sarah's going to post it in the chats and everything for you.
Perfect. Well. Yeah, because it's a mouthful. I do have a another Instagram called at the Leet Man O. So the word the Leet L33T man 0. That's gonna be something I'm trying to like do a little bit of gaming stuff on there, upload some clips. I don't know about Twitch because of all the stuff that's going on right now.
Yeah, I was gonna dive into that to you as well, but woo!
Yeah, that happened yesterday. Yeah, so yeah, best of luck to you guys on Twitch right now.
Yeah, as you guys can tell, we're not streaming on Twitch anymore. We're on YouTube.
Yeah, unfortunate.
Everyone got the message.
Yeah. I also have TikTok, same name, and a YouTube channel, same name. So I'm just going to try to be uploading some more videos, just me gaming, just doing some simple stuff. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah, I'm excited we're building me and Sarah about to hopefully build a PC soon. So I would love to stream with you. It'd be really cool to kind of just like game. So that's really cool. I'm excited to see I'm gonna be watching your chat. I'm like, yo, when you going live? I'm just kidding. To see your recordings and stuff would be really cool too. So regardless, it'd be awesome.
I'll shout you guys out. Yo, it's the B&E. That's what's up.
We thank everyone who joined us tonight. And as you guys know, this is a live show. We do this show every Monday, every Wednesday, and every Friday. We go into depth at 7:00, where you can get to know a little bit more about us. And yes, we have one more thing.
Oh yeah, one more thing too. So
shoot.
Once again, my girlfriend is in the Miss Philippines USA competition. Show your support, shout her out, sponsor her, everything. She's gonna win. Okay, she's gonna win. I'm telling you right now. So get on the team. Let's see it. Hit me up, DM her. Let's try to get her to win.
Yeah, dude. I think she can take it. We have a show that's coming up for her. Really excited to learn a little more about that process, and I have a lot of questions about the pageantry side of things. And
stay tuned.
I'm really excited. yeah. Join that show. That's gonna be really interesting. That whole world. I've been very interested. I have some questions. So. Nonetheless, thank you everyone for joining us tonight. We appreciate it. This is again the beginning of the never ending. This is the After Dark edition where we go in depth to some of the guests who've been on our show. And for everyone who wants to hop on or and be a part, join our chats. We have a Discord channel, and we have obviously a lot more things where people can connect with us on Twitter and Instagram. You can check us out on all of our socials. We'll post that as well. Thank you guys. I hope you have a great evening. And stay safe because, we're beginning to the never ending. Peace.